even though we can bring folks up live on Facebook, things like that, it may be interesting because I'm not 100% certain how to work Facebook, so it will be a learning experience, such as I want to know how to mirror the screen. And I do see a few folks are in here already. Jerome McCray, I see you in here. Good evening to you. But it does let me know I can bring folks up live, and that's what I want. So Facebook, we do have Instagram and Clapper, but for the sake of tonight, we're going to be on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. So let me type in this last bit of information and we'll be live with everybody momentarily here. So Trump scores big victory. I think many of you have heard about it already. And we're going to give him his moment. Uh, you know, his moment he's due. He definitely had a really big win today. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. By the way, let me get this Texas legislator out the way and bring up the actual screen we're going to be discussing. Let me see here. I just want to get my last bit of information here. You guys, I didn't mean to do that. No, I brought you guys up a little bit before I was 100% ready to go, but we're just about there. So appreciate the few of you that have already tuned in before I fire up the other platforms. So, and I apologize if my voice sounds like shit. I am dealing with day 3 of a cold. So we should be going. Let me see. Everything looks good. We'll go ahead and fire up the YouTube side of things, and we'll go ahead and get TikTok going in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Appreciate some of you folks that already tuned in. Untouchable. You see what's on the monitor behind me. We're going to be talking about Trump from a standpoint of being untouchable as he scores another huge, or as he would say, huge, huge victory. President Trump scored a huge victory today. I don't think there's any denying that. If you're wondering what on earth am I talking about in regards to President Trump scoring a huge victory, now he's covered it. Obviously, President Trump is going to cover all his victories, but this one is significant, even for President Trump.
Breaking news. A New York appeals court has overturned a more than $500 million penalty that had been levied against President Trump and the Trump Organization. It comes after a judge had found Trump fraudulently filed financial statements to lenders and insurers. The penalty with interest came to more than $515 million before being tossed out by an appeals court this morning. News Nation's Rich McHugh is live in New York with the very latest. And Rich, we just heard from President Trump on Truth Social.
Yeah, he's obviously taking this as a giant win for him, for his son's executives in the Trump Organization, at a loss for Letitia James, New York Attorney General. $500 million in fines thrown out by the New York Appeals Court just a short time ago. This is in the civil case against Donald Trump stemming back to 2022. One of the judges wrote, in the majority, he wrote, the penalty was an excessive fine barred by the 8th Amendment. Now, in his Truth Social post just now, President Trump essentially proclaimed total victory, praised the decision by New York courts, called the case a political witch hunt, called the case political interference, said...
Now, excuse me, but I'm pretty sure most of you heard this already. Now, a couple things to unpack here. Now, even though I tend to lean left somewhat, I don't think this is a bad judgment. Them pretty much letting Trump off the hook. And I'll tell you why I say that. And by the way, while Trump is claiming this is a total victory, the courts did state that he did commit the offenses that he was charged with. They let him off the hook because they're saying it violates the 8th Amendment. In other words, the punishment needed to fit the crime. In other words, the punishment was too excessive. So they're not saying he's innocent. They're just saying they're saying the courts, the judgment against him is way in excess of what he should have to pay. And I'm going to be honest and say that I agree with that. Listen, I know a lot of people do not like Trump. I get it. I mean, he does a lot of things to earn that dislike. But if the argument, I'm trying to get my system to Wi-Fi, but if the argument is that penalty, hang on a second here. If the argument is that the penalty against President Trump was excessive, I believe that. I would agree with that. I do believe that they threw the book at the man. I don't disagree with that. So, damn, I'm trying to. There we go. Okay, I'm trying to get my screen going. But I don't disagree with how the judge ruled. And by the way, because the judge ruled this way, it does allow, I suppose it allows Letitia James to still have a follow-up. But I do agree, hitting the man with a $500 million fine for it is excessive. So I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, they got him on the Eighth Amendment. They didn't say Trump is innocent, so Trump claiming it's a witch hunt and all that other shit is not true. I mean, here is his actual Truth Social post: total victory in the fake New York State Attorney General. Total victory in the fake New York State Attorney General Letitia James case. They made me bond. I guess he means my. Does he fact check any of this shit? They made me bond. You know, that sounds like how some of the, when I was in Australia, they would always talk like that. You know, use me instead of my. They made me bond the outrageous sum, which never happened before, and which cost me millions of dollars a month. It should have never been allowed to happen, and everyone knew it. Well, I don't know what's up with the grammar of this guy, but and that's kind of what Gavin Newsom has made fun of, is how bad the grammar is on his messages. But I do agree that hitting the guy for $500 million for what he was charged with is excessive. But as I stated, the courts admit what he actually is guilty of what they hit him with. They just let him go because they believe the charges were excessive. So I don't know if you call it a victory or not. And I see in the comments, a lot of people say no victim. You realize how many people were in jail for crimes that had no victim? I mean, right now they're charging, I believe, what is it, P. Diddy? P. Diddy is in jail right now, being held on, what is it? I forget what the charge is called, but there's no victim in it. There's no victims in what he's in jail for. So there's plenty of people who go to jail for cases that have no victim. The cases that feature P. Diddy, Big Dog, shout out to you. Thank you. Big Dog, shout out to the support. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support. Right now, what P did, I think it's something about to solicit prostitution or something is what they charged him with. Transportation to solicit prostitution. That's what he was convicted of. He got 2 counts of that. That's all P. Diddy was convicted of, is transportation to solicit prostitution. The people he solicited as prostitutes are not even complaining. They got paid for their job. They're happy. They made money off of being the prostitute he hired. There's no victims. And in fact, most prostitution features no victim. So the idea, well, Trump got punished and there's no victim in this case, happens all the damn time. If you go to a drug dealer and you have cash and you want drugs and he sells you drugs, you go get high and he spends the money, there is no victim in that. And yet we hold drug dealers accountable. There's all kinds of shit you can do that features no victim. Gambling, you name it. So I don't know why Trump gets some kind of special pass because his crime didn't contain a victim. A whole lot of crimes don't contain a fucking victim. That ain't unusual. But anyway, somebody says bookkeeping. I like that. It's a good way of finagling it. I like the wording. But yeah, there's a whole lot of crimes you can commit that have no victims behind it. So I don't see how anybody would try to say that's the reason he should get off. But the fact is, the courts admit he committed the crime, but the punishment was excessive. And I do agree, $500 million for what they hit him with was excessive. They just snowballed every charge. In fact, the whole 34 felony thing, they were throwing a book at him. And as opposed to, in most cases, that stuff should be confined to be 1 felony or something like that. I'm not going to get on here and pretend like Trump is innocent. I'm not going to get on here and pretend like Trump is right in saying this shit is a witch hunt. That ain't true. But I believe he committed crimes and they were trying to go gung-ho and pile on to make a whole mountain over something that should have been 1 or 2 charges. So I'm going to leave it at that. He ain't innocent. It is not a witch hunt. They just went too far, got too greedy or too angry or whatever you want to suggest at him. And I would bring up the same thing happened to P. Diddy. Many folks said the same thing happened with him as they overcharged him and they went after him too gung-ho, and that's how he won. So it does happen, and it ain't something that's unique to President Trump. But Fact is, he has walked away from this, at least for now. My guess is Letitia James in the state of New York is not going to go back at it. I mean, unless Trump is no longer president. But with Trump being president, there's just too many avenues of American government that he has locked up. I once had a viewer on my program several years ago. This was when Trump was a citizen in between his presidencies. Biden was president, and Trump had not announced he was running, and these charges were coming down the pipe, such as the insurrection and all that other stuff. And I had a MAGA viewer tell me something that I'll never forget. It still resonates, and it's turning out to be really true. He said Trump will never be convicted because there will always be at least one MAGA on every jury. I actually, now that I look back on it, that was a really accurate statement. And I do believe that. I do believe that there is always going to be, and that doesn't just apply to jury members. That also applies to judges and folks that, at the upper levels too. All you got to do is find one of them. And okay, so if he gets convicted of something, you have the appeals court and you have the Supreme Court. All you need to find is one of those type of judges, and chances are you're going to get away with it. And I think we all can admit there's probably at least a couple MAGA on the Supreme Court for certain. I don't think anybody would look at Clarence Thomas or Justice Alito and think they're anything but MAGA. So it is to the point where, as you see on the monitor behind me, I think he's untouchable. But I want to hear from you folks. When I say the man's untouchable, I do agree with his statement. He could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and his support would go nowhere and he would likely not be held accountable. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I actually agree with that. I actually do agree with that. If I'm wrong, that's what you folks are here for. You can correct me on that. Tell me I'm full of it. You know how the program is ran. You know we don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. But I do believe he actually could do that. I don't think anybody. I think it would be enough friendly people out there that he would be able to come up with some kind of way to finagle out of it. But anyway, like I said, we're talking about being untouchable. So that's going to be the first topic. We only got two topics in there. It's kind of an abbreviated live. And I know some of you folks are going to probably talk to me about hearing me in another MAGA live I was in about an hour ago. We can certainly talk about that when you come on, for you folks that heard me earlier tonight. When I go to MAGA lives, it's fairly similar. You know, they're going to call me a bunch of names. I'm usually taking on multiple MAGA at once, which I have no problem doing that. I got thick skin. I don't mind being insulted. I got insulted a lot tonight. So damn what? Who cares? There's no snowflakes on this side. And of course, at the end of the live, I was kicked off and I think they muted my microphone and then they kicked me off. That is the main reason why I invite everyone here from all walks of the aisle, is to show you this is a place you can come without any concern of ever being blocked, banned, or censored. I say that numerous times on this program, for the simple fact is I know it happens. It is not something that only liberals do or liberal snowflakes or all. It absolutely happens on the right as well. And I can testify to that because that is the only place I go outside of my own programs, is to right-wing social media pages. That's the only place I go. And it happens to me all the time. It happened tonight as well. And I'm sure some of you folks saw it. Anyway, real quick in the comments, I do want to also thank you folks. Before we go to the second topic, we have two topics. Before we go to the second topic, I want to thank you folks that did follow the Facebook page. We are currently live on Facebook right now. So Tim Liberals is up. I'm learning Facebook. Just like with YouTube, I don't know how to mirror the damn page. So I'm learning on YouTube, on Facebook, but I am aware you can bring guests up on Facebook. So for you folks always asking, well, what's the number to call in? We do have another social media page. So for tonight, we are on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Tomorrow, we will likely resume being on Clapper and Instagram. But for tonight, we are also on Facebook as well. Tim Liberals with an S. Tim Liberals with an S on Facebook. So we're on that platform as well right now as we speak. So I want to ask you, so before we go to the second topic, in regards to Trump being untouchable and defeating Letitia James, at least for now, but my guess is he's never going to have to deal with her again. I want to ask you folks, what do you think is going to happen with E. Jean Carroll? Remember the woman who civilly was able to show or have him found liable? E. Jean Carroll won $88.5 million from him. Defamation case. Now, she won $5 million in a defamation case against Trump, and that was because she wrote a book saying that Trump graped her. She wasn't coming after Trump for any money in regards to the grape. She just said Trump graped her. Trump decided to go out on the media and trash her, saying that her grape story was a lie. That is when she then sued him for defamation, and that came out in court. They fought over it, and it turns out the jury said, yeah, you are likely liable for grape. So the book she wrote actually is more likely accurate than not, and they gave her a $5 million award for defamation because you just said something ain't true in her book, and we believe it is. Well, that was $5 million. After Trump lost the $5 million, in typical Donald J. Trump fashion, he didn't shut the hell up. He continued defaming her. And then she sued him again a second time for defamation. And now it's a total of 88 point some odd $million. And that too is going up with tremendous interest rates. But what do you think? Do you think, just like with Letitia James, that E. Jean Carroll will never see a dime of that money? I want to talk to you folks about that. My humble opinion is she won't see a dime of that money. Like I just said, it ain't hard to find a MAGA-friendly judge. Just keep appealing, and eventually you're going to hit one. They're out there everywhere. So I don't think E. Jean Carroll's going to get anything either. That's why we're saying untouchable. I don't think any case formed against Trump shall prosper. Where have you heard that phrase from before? Nothing formed against me shall prosper. I don't think any court case formed against President Trump shall prosper. But anyway, we'll talk about that. And of course, in addition to that, we do have a second topic, and we'll get into taking calls, and we'll get into reading your comments. This one, I don't know, this one might be even bigger, but I just want to hear you guys' opinion on this, because this man is starting to appear as a potential superstar on the horizon.
Right now on the controversial new congressional maps. Those maps could give the Republican Party
up to 5 more seats in Congress, something the White House has pressured the Lone Star State Republicans to get done. Let's bring back CBS News reporter Erica Brown live for us outside the White House. Now, in the last hour, Erica, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill sending California's new maps to the state ballot this November. So what happens between now and then?
Well, for now, California can't do anything else. The state legislature has responded to the Texas move by House Republicans to redraw maps that will be favorable to them, acquiring about 5 more seats in Congress.
So you kind of hear what's going on. Now, Texas, because of their laws, they could do it right away. California can't do it right away, but come November, they get to vote on whether they can do it or not. And because California is mostly liberal, and they don't like Trump, and they probably don't favor what Texas just did, you're going to have redistricting likely in California. So I'm going to be asking on the second topic, do you believe, or better yet, first of all, do you support what Trump did with Texas? Do you support Texas gerrymandering, redistricting, whatever you want to call it, to get 5 seats? And then, of course, do you support Gavin Newsom doing it as retaliation? Because obviously Gavin Newsom had no intention of doing it until Texas did it. But do you support Gavin Newsom doing the same thing in retaliation? And last but not least, the big question I want to ask everybody is, do you believe this type of gerrymandering is good for America? Because that's what's going on. By the way, there are a host of other states that are considering it. Missouri, Illinois, I think Florida's, so it could be widespread. There are other states. Do you believe this is good for America? So as always, I see a few people saying yes and a few people are saying no. Not good for America. I'd like to know why you think gerrymandering is good for America. If so, anyhow, why are we ignoring Russia? Ignoring Russia how? I mean, Trump just had the Vladimir Putin on American soil, last Friday? I mean, how is Russia being ignored? I think they're more ignoring Gaza than they are Russia, so I don't know what you mean by that. Anyway, looking in the comments, continuing on, it's natural to change the map every few years. Yes, people move around. It is not natural to change the map every few years. It's every 10 years. It is not natural to change the map every few years. So if you hear someone suggesting that what Trump is doing in Texas is not wrong, the Democrats have done it too, there is no evidence of any party, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, in any state redistricting votes twice in like 4 or 5 years. I think they did it in 2021 or 2022. Texas did it. And now here it is in 2025, they're doing it. And they're not doing it because people are moving around or any of these other things they're doing it because Trump asked them to. Trump is on record saying, I want 5 more seats. He is on record saying, I think we deserve 5 more seats. They're not doing it. All of the reasons people are saying they're doing it are secondary reasons they're making up to not come out and admit the obvious. The president asked for this shit. We got to come up and say something else so a future president don't just jump up and ask for some shit. But there is no record of some other state redistricting their votes twice in like 4 or 5 years. So this is not something that has been done before by anyone. Anyway, looking in the comments, Trump is losing support with independents based on what? How many gallons of somebody's asking me about something that is irrelevant about chapstick? A bit of an anomaly considering the previous administration led in, and I guess you're trying to say they let in an absurd amount of people. I don't listen. There was an absurd amount of people coming in under many administrations. Is there any other evidence where people started gerrymandering under other previous presidents because of stuff like that? I don't know. I don't know if there's any evidence to support that has happened before. Because usually when immigrants come in, they move into certain neighborhoods. When the Irish came here, they moved into certain neighborhoods. Did they gerrymander the votes when that happened? I mean, when the Haitian migrants all moved to Ohio, did they gerrymander the votes in that Springfield district? Is there any prior evidence to show it's been happening before? I mean, that's all I'm saying. Show me evidence. Republicans usually don't use their power when they have it. Finally, they're actually using power for once. You really believe that? You never heard of the Patriot Act that George Bush passed, giving him the ability to go into your house without a warrant and not even tell you he was there? Starting wars really without even getting approval? You're just now suggesting that under Trump they're using their power? You totally forgot the whole Bush administration? I'm assuming everything from the Iran-Contra scandal with Reagan? You forgot all that, huh? Okay. Going to the box, CEO of Common Sense. Good evening or welcome to the program. Somebody says Bush was awful. Well, the same people supporting Trump are the ones that got Bush in office. He certainly didn't get in there by way of any liberal. I tried to bring up the CEO of Common Sense and did not bring him up. We'll go to the next guest, which is Chris. Good evening, Chris. Welcome to the program if it brings you up. There we go. Chris, good evening.
You know what, Tim? I think what's going on with the Republicans, and I'm gonna tell you this is they willing to pay in fines and lawsuits like they doing Crockett and they did the young lady. They kept her locked in chambers. They are willing to pay $100 billion in lawsuits and fines if they can get those 5 seats. Because you know what?
The money will come back to them if they get that much power.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If they can keep control of that for another, like just 2 more years, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Think about it.
But I'm going to ask, though, from a standpoint of, okay, because obviously Gavin Newsom is trying to do this back in reverse. Do you support what Gavin Newsom is doing as retaliation?
I sure do. 100%. I endorse it 100%. I also endorse New York State, Illinois State, and some of these swing states. Michigan, you know, we have a Democratic governor. You know, several of these swing states have Democratic governors. Do it.
Yeah, but what are we getting to the point where our votes are not going to fucking matter? I mean, if all of these, because anywhere they are gerrymandering, that means they know ahead of time what the outcome of your area is going to be. So anybody in any of these districts that are being gerrymandered, your vote doesn't matter. They already know the outcome of your area at the congressional level. So, I mean, we're going to have a whole bunch of places around the country now where people are voting and it really don't even matter. Is this good for the country?
Is it good for the country, for Texas to do this? Let's ask that question first. Let's start with Texas.
All right.
Governor Abbott, now, is that good?
Listen, I'm asking the question, but I'm going to, for me, no, I don't think any, to me, when Trump came down the golden escalator and complained about elections being rigged, it resonated with the American people because a lot of folks did believe the elites have everything fixed in their favor and the little man gets no say so. But now when he's telling a state, I need 5 more votes, I don't see how that's not rigging the election. You're telling people in those areas, your vote don't matter. I want to win your area. So I'm going to do something to guarantee I win your area no matter how you vote. How is that not rigging it?
So Democrats have to fight fire with fire.
So rig it back.
Hey, play the game the same way. The rules are the same. And am I right about that?
Depends on who you ask. But that is going to lead into my next question. Look, when you say, am I right about that? Should the Democrats fight fire with fire? I once heard a lady say, when they go low, we go high. She don't seem to agree with you.
I disagree with that. I think you have to fight fire with fire, even on, because the rules are the same across the board. We have to keep that in mind.
So then if you're okay with fighting fire with fire, and that's obviously the fire is currently the counter fire is being lit by Gavin Newsom. Do you see Gavin Newsom as maybe being a rising star? Because most of the Democrat Party, from Cory Booker to, what is the guy who replaced Nancy Pelosi? What is the speaker's? Hakeem Jeffries. When you see those folks, they still are maintaining that go high standard.
No, that's not working. No, I believe in Gavin because from what I've seen, I haven't seen any of his tweets or any of his
oh
posts.
My God.
So I don't. What I'm saying, I've seen him on TikTok, but I don't know if it's AI. But what I'm understanding is that he has posted some things about Trump, but I haven't seen him. I've seen TikToks, and it looked like the stuff on TikTok to me looked like AI.
Now, some of it is AI. I mean, just like a lot of stuff Trump posts with him in a Superman suit or Biden in the backup. I mean, look, it's not real shit, but I mean, but the message gets through.
Exactly. If you repost it, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I haven't seen any of his posts at all. Everything I've seen coming off of TikTok, I haven't went to Twitter and seen any of his posts. You know, I looked on Twitter, but I couldn't see nothing that was that I seen on TikTok.
Oh my God, it's all. Yeah, I you know something, because
I didn't see that on his post.
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, because the right. I mean, I got Dana Perino on the 5 a few days ago talking about what he's doing is so bad he's embarrassing himself, and his wife should tell him to stop, which I found to be hilarious. You guys have been in favor of Trump's mean tweets. Even wearing shirts that say I could go for mean tweets and $2 gas, but all of a sudden Gavin Newsom should feel embarrassed. It was hilarious, but that just shows you how much it's making headway. Is that Fox is complaining about it?
It's hypocrisy though.
Yeah, it's very good.
You know, when I see that and I'm like, wow, you know, this is really strange. You know, I'm like, Trump do this, that, and the third. Y'all don't say anything, but then he come out and do this. Oh, it's a problem. What's the issue with that?
Well, I mean, the issue is it's fairly simple. It's okay for me, not for thee. I mean, it is what it is. I talk to MAGA all the time. MAGA supports Trump insulting people. They do not like him being insulted. He could say all Democrats hate the damn country and want to kill us all. That would be fine. But if you say he's a racist or you say he's this or that, they don't like it. So, I mean, that's what's happening is that they are, now that he's starting to get hit back by somebody with some of the same fire, they're not liking it.
Right. I mean, that's the way they playing the game, though, right? Yeah. Am I right or wrong?
That's going low, though. That's going low, Chris. That ain't going high.
That's what they have to do. It's not. You see what happened in the last election.
So
going low don't work. Going low ain't going. It's not working, bro.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not working in this society. In this time.
Can we survive, though, if both presidents are just... I mean, look, politics can be nasty, anyway. Yeah. But when you get people attacking each other's wives and just saying, I bet you got a small dick. This is personal stuff. They're not attacking each other on policies. Trump attacks you're sleepy, you're crazy, you're Pocahontas. His stuff is not based on policy. It's personal. You think we can survive if the Democrats start doing the same thing he's doing?
Sure. You keep fighting them at the same level. Stay at the same level until the citizens get tired. Then the citizens eventually say, hey, we tired of this. But keep hitting them. keep hitting them. You know what I mean?
So what about the fact, like in the comments, one of my viewers, Butch says gas in California is $5 a gallon. People point out that California's taxes and cost of living and homelessness is out of control. What about the fact that people think he is not an effective politician, not an effective governor? He used to be the mayor of San Francisco. People say he wasn't good at that. What about his quality as a politician? Does that sway you at all?
Not at all. Because you're looking at California, what is it? What's the population? 40 million, something like that.
It's a big
Now
economy.
you're looking at USA, 300 million. I think Newsom is the front runner right now. And no doubt in my mind. I think he's the front runner because he's playing the same game that Trump is playing. And that's why I agree with him. All these other guys, these little senators and these little congressmen, they get up there and they talk, but they're not really doing nothing. You know what I mean? They not resonating with the people. Newsom is resonating with a lot of people all over the country.
You know, I wish I could push back. I actually was saying that earlier. I think Gavin Newsom is on course to be the Democrat frontrunner because of exactly what you're talking about. You know, he's doing the Jasmine Crockett AOC thing, but he's going to. I've said numerous times that the next Democratic candidate needs to be a straight white Christian male. He checks off all those boxes. He's good looking, he's young, and he's fighting like Trump.
Yes.
He's probably the front runner. But do you think he can beat the MAGA machine?
Who's the MAGA machine in 2028?
Well,
J.D. Vance. I mean, he'll easily beat J.D. Vance.
You think so?
That'll be a Obama. That'll be a blowout.
But understand, even if he's running against J.D. Vance, he's still going to have. Trump is still going to be doing rallies. As long as Trump can walk and there's breath in his body, he's going to be promoting the shit out of Vance or Rubio or whoever he puts up there.
I get what you're saying. That's not going to help, though, Tim. And you know it. That's not going to help.
I don't agree that it won't help. Having Trump endorse you, to me, is huge.
It may help Vance 10%, maybe. Yeah. You know, Vance is no competition to Newsom. None at all.
So you think that Vance, do you think, because Trump claimed, how many votes did Trump get? Was it 70-some, 80-some million?
It's 79 million, I think.
Do you think,
79.
do you see Vance or Rubio getting less than that 79 or more?
Yeah, I would say 76, 75, something like that.
Wow. And that's even,
I think Democrats going to show up big time, and you know, Newsom may get 83 million. You know, he may top Biden.
So you might be talking about President Newsom come 2028, huh?
Yeah, because of the reason Democrats know they need to come out and vote now. They know, they realize it now. They see what's going on. They know, even the young people, and some of them ain't even old enough to vote yet. But by the time 2028 come, they will be, and the word get out to them. You have to vote. You have to vote.
Well, listen. To me, it wasn't. Trump is. Listen, the Trump 2.0 is not that fucking surprising, and yet people didn't come out to vote. I mean, it ain't like people didn't tell you if you let this guy get reelected, they weren't painting all kinds of horror stories. I mean, largest deportation in history. You knew he didn't like the LGBTQ community. You knew nothing good was coming down the pipe for women, and they still didn't come out and vote.
Right. Tim, the reason why, and I'm going to tell you why a lot of people didn't vote, because Kamala you see how her campaign was running, and it looked good to everybody.
I don't even think it looked good. I think
it looked good to everybody.
It didn't even look good to black people, Chris.
Listen,
I mean, Biden got more black votes than the first black woman running for president. So I don't think it looked good to most people.
I'm going to tell you, I'll put it this way. In the inner cities, I think a lot of people said she got it by a long shot. She even thought that.
Yeah, America is a lot more than just the inner cities, though.
Yeah, Tim, I get that, but I'm explaining something to you.
Okay, give me what you got.
She was going to have a conference after the election. She was going to come out. She never came out. She knew she was going to win.
You saying Kamala Harris knew she was going to win?
Yeah, she never came out though. After the election results, she never came out. It was thousands of people's out there waiting on her.
I don't know what made her
You
think
know how your crowd. You know how the election go on that night, and then both the electors, they had a little crowd out there, and she had her crowd out there, but she never came out.
Well, if Kamala and her
That was
team,
embarrassing, and that really disappointed me. I'm like, come out and just take the loss. She never came out. That bothered me.
well, okay, I get what you're saying. And
Yeah,
I don't. Wait, hold on. I don't disagree with that. I don't fault Kamala for that because, look, if Trump had lost to Kamala, he wasn't going to concede. He wasn't going to come out and say anything, but that election was stolen.
We know that.
Yeah, so do you want to be in the fucking mud or not? Do you want to be in the mud or not? If you want to be in the mud, then don't fault Kamala Harris for doing some muddy stuff.
She not Trump though. That's the thing.
That ain't what you want the Democrats to behave in a Trump-like manner. Trump was not going to come out and concede to Kamala Harris. So why are you saying that she should have came out?
Yeah, now I do. But back then it was different, but now I do.
Okay, so in other words, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all on me. Is that what I'm hearing?
Something like that.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Kamala Harris's history never to resurface, and now we're looking at Gavin Newsom. So you're backing Gavin. You think out of all of the Democrat prospects right now, Gavin Newsom is it?
I think he's the man. I think he's the man. He's our bet right now. But then again, it's early. It's very early, so we can't. Don't jump the gun. But right now he's looking pretty good. Yeah.
All right.
I definitely back him. Definitely.
Well, you're gonna back anybody with a D behind their name compared to Trump. You'd probably back a Saint Bernard over Trump. I mean, you're not faithful.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
But you keep saying Trump. Everybody keeps saying Trump. He's not running in 2020.
That is a great fucking point. Something? I have to correct myself because I have said that, I told other viewers that you keep talking about how weak the Democratic Party is and they don't have no leader. And I tell folks all the time, you are making those statements based on Trump running in 2028. I mean, no matter who steps up after Trump, Rubio, Vance, none of them are as strong as Trump. Your party's going to be weaker too. None of them are as strong as Trump.
They're going to be extremely weaker. It's not going to be a Trump. You're going to lose 20%. You're going to lose a lot of people. Ain't going to vote, or they're going to independent or go Democrat.
I'm not sure of that, but what about the notion of Trump getting a third term?
He's not getting a third term, Tim.
You feel confident in that? Do you not see the word above his head?
He's not getting a third term. You know how long it take to change the amendment? It takes years. 2/3.
If he wins, if the Republicans win in the midterms, I don't think it's going to take as long as you might think. I think that whatever Trump wants, Trump gets. If there is one thing I will never say again is Trump can't do that. I don't know anything I feel confident at this point anymore that Trump cannot do, because you got a large portion of the country that believes in him so much they will let him do anything. So I don't feel confident saying Trump can't do anything anymore. I'll give you the last word. I do got to move it on.
The last word is, Tim, I just came off a live. You was with I don't know who this person was, but they was very rude. I didn't even get the name of that person, but I thought it was very rude how they was talking to you. And I know eventually they lied. I don't know if that took him down or he just stopped. But
I believe if you're really like heavy on the bullying, and obviously the guy was calling me all sorts of names. I think you trigger a lot of you can trigger the AI, and they will take it down. I mean, they were calling me all kinds of names that you've seen, and that's right when it went down. So he probably cost his own life to go down. But Chris, appreciate you
took it
coming
like a champ, though. I tell you, you took it like a champ, and I really didn't appreciate that guy. I was trying to get in the comments and tell him, you wrong. This ain't even called for. You know what I mean?
No snowflakes over here, man. You know how we do it.
I heard that.
Thank you.
All right, Tim.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
brother.
Anytime, Chris. All right, moving on with the program. You guys know what we do here. We don't block, ban, or censor. We are not snowflakes, so you can be critical of anybody on this program, including yours truly. You're not going to agree with all the opinions. You're not going to disagree with all of them. That's how we do it. Tap the screen, by the way, if you will. Get your boy on up to about 10,000 in the likes. What am I looking at? I'm going to put on my damn spectacles. I can't see. Trump is doing a third term now. What do you mean by that, Parker? You says Trump is currently doing the third term. Tap the screen. Give me up to 20,000 likes. You guys know what I'm asking for. For you guys watching on Facebook, I'm learning how to use it. It's only going to be like that until he gets out of office. And then what happens, Alice? I'd be curious to know. He knows how to work the courts. I agree with that 100%. He knew how. Trump was really good at working the courts before he became president. By way of him and Michael Cohen, they were dominating people. That's why they were able to not pay contractors and shit like that. They just know how to, they got the lawyers, they got the money, they can finagle the system, make and delay and things like that. And the average person can't deal with all that. So people give up and shit like that. They were good. Trump was really good at the courts before he became president. So now that he's in the office and he got all sorts of folks that favor him in his politics, he's only gotten stronger. So that's why I'm suggesting that the guy is untouchable. Looking in the comments though, running out of time, Saka. I don't know what that means there, Rex boy. I wish to eat Burger King Whopper. We'll go eat one. Am I chatting with a room full of Afro-American black people of color? Says William Jones. I don't know. Is that something that's relevant? You want to know if the room you're chatting in features African-American people of color? Well, someone in the comments above you, Paul Sauce, who's a friend of the program, has posted a picture of Old Glory twice saying Ultra Mega MAGA run this chat. So if you're in the same chat room as somebody stating that Ultra Mega MAGA is running the chat room, you're probably not only in there with African Americans. I'll just tell you that. Looking in the comments though, but he is old. Asherman, you're talking about Trump? I don't think it matters. I don't think as long as he's alive by the way, he is incredibly functional. He doesn't come across like Joe Biden. Yeah, his grammar's terrible. He's like an old man. He repeats the same shit over and over again, but he's functional enough. The messages resonate enough that I'm fairly confident right now MAGA would have no problem with Trump doing an additional term. Will his health hold up solid like that for the next 3 years? Remains to be seen. But if he wants a third term, I'm not going to say he would get it, but I damn sure would say he can. I would say 60-40 maybe. I think it's a pretty good chance if he wanted to get a third term, because I don't think there's any MAGA that are going to say no. So he certainly got MAGA. Now it depends on how the independents and some of them think. But I do believe that if he wanted a third term, there's at least a 40% chance he could get it. Looking in the comments, because they're just going to move out of the way and pass laws that he wants. I mean, he asked for Texas to redistrict. There was no question of anything, but yes, we'll do it. Shortest straw. I hate to draw that. Shortest straw. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Is the Commander-in-Chief indeed untouchable? Shortest straw? What say you?
Maybe, but everything he's doing is within the law. So, I mean, like I said in the comments 100 times already, if it isn't against the law and there's a statute in which he can perform whatever he's doing, he's going to do it, and he can and he will do it. I think we are put back on the path of righteous government, holding people accountable for the weaponization of our justice system.
You don't think he's weaponizing the justice system at all, going after literally all of his own enemies?
Well, he has the right to appeal. Everybody has the right to appeal.
He's not appealing him. He's going after colleges and NPR and law firms that defended Hillary Clinton. He's not appealing. He's attacking.
Oh, well, if you're talking about the things that have happened on campus for Palestine and stuff, people have clearly broken the law, vandalizing, doing egregious acts, violence against other people. There has to be law and order in this country, and those who have been proven to have broken the law, whether it's a real Republican or Democrat, shouldn't matter what your party affiliation is on whether you get away with things. So you don't believe he's actually attacking anyone. He's only going at the people that broke the law. He's not taking retribution or revenge against anyone. No, I don't think so. But when it comes down to the Russia hoax, which all of our taxpayers went for them to put on a felonious criminal acts against him, from the Letitia James to the Russia hoax, we've spent billions or at least millions of taxpayer dollars. Do you think that we should be having to pay for felonious lawsuits?
I don't get your outrage. I mean, do you realize how much money
I'm not outraged.
No, here's my point. Here's my point. You're talking about spending billions of dollars uselessly. Do you realize how much money was spent by the taxpayers chasing his claim that the election was stolen? I mean, they spent a ton of money on that. Cases, all kinds of stuff that came out of that. All of that was because he said the election was stolen. Does that concern you at all? Because that has not been proven any more than the Russia stuff.
I mean, we see the fleecing of American taxpayers' dollars on both sides. We know how it works. You're going to pass legislation and spending bills and money that goes to NGOs on both sides.
But wasn't he supposed to be the? But wasn't he supposed to be the guy that got it? Wasn't he supposed to be the guy that got in there and drained the swamp and not bend both sides? But yet he's in there and you're admitting, well, both sides are doing it. So he's doing it too.
Yeah, I mean, both sides have been doing it for years.
But he was not supposed to be that way. He was supposed to drain the swamp.
But you realize that they funnel this money into NGOs, and then those NGOs hire and start profitable, non-profitable charities or organizations that are funneling money, our tax money, into activist groups and to their family and friends who are making salaries of up towards $500,000 a year, but they're nonprofits. That don't make sense. They're enriching their family and friends by laundering money into bogus organizations.
So it sounds like what you're basically saying is we elected Trump, and even though he promised to drain the swamp and not be a typical politician, it's kind of been business as usual in regards to the stuff you're talking about.
Well, see, I listened to Kash Patel last night, and he said that the people who weaponize justice against their political opponents, which is communism, by the way, only communist countries do that. Kash Patel got up there and said that we are draining and we are firing the people who had something to do with that. And that is what the swamp is. The swamp is a bunch of people who are doing un-American, unconstitutional acts within our government without oversight. That is the swamp. The swamp is not your politician on TV. It's the people behind the scenes who are enacting on their own political views.
You mean like
when they're supposed to be unbiased?
You mean people,
just like the judges across this country are supposed to be constitutionalists.
Yeah, when you say people behind the scenes, are you talking potentially like people that may be on the Epstein list?
Well, I mean, it could be some people that are on there. Yeah, we know that there's people, stockholders, and people on Wall Street, and people who have.
So wait, hold on. So if you know that there may be people on there like that, any idea why Trump is telling us to stop talking about that?
Probably because there's ongoing investigation, and we can't be letting out the facts before the prosecutions or whatever. How does the average citizen talking about the Epstein list or podcasters
have anything to do with the investigation? And by the way, he didn't say nothing about an investigation that's going on. He just said stop talking about the Epstein list. You're kind of adding that in there to soften what he said. He didn't say that.
Me as a voter, I care less. The dude is gone from us. I want to know who took his place, and whoever took his place, that's the next target. And that's what I'm more concerned about. I'm not concerned about some guy in a list about who's on it, because what are me and you going to be able to do to those people? Oh, you work for, say, J.B. Morgan and Chase. Oh, well, we're just not going to invest in you anymore? Well, most of us don't have the money to invest in those people anyways.
But you know the weird thing is...
You're the head of Target. Oh, we're just going to boycott Target. Oh, you were on the Epstein list and you own part of Pepsi. We're just going to stop drinking Pepsi.
Hold on. You're going to tell me. Hold on. Hang on. You're covering way too much. Let me just say something. You're going to tell me. Can I speak back to you, or you just want to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, like, you want to hold these people accountable or something, or have their name. What are you as a citizen going to do against those people to make their life worse? I don't think anything.
If you can stop drinking Bud Light because they dealt with a transgender, you damn sure can go at the Pepsi if they're hanging out with pedophiles. That doesn't make any sense. The right is showing that they... Hold on, hang on. The right is showing over and over again, whether it's Taylor Swift, even going back to the Iraq war with the Dixie Chicks, they have shown they can go after people and hold them accountable. But for some reason, when Trump says stop talking about Epstein, well, we really can't do nothing about these people anyway. Do you realize how that sounds?
You have a closed case file by a Democratic judge. Why don't he release it? If there's all this incriminating evidence against Trump or any other Republican, why would a Democrat not release it? So that's why I'm like, I don't really give a shit anymore. I'd rather worry about who took the dude's place. Why are we talking about that? Where is all the outrage against the people who are doing this to children across this country? Because it ain't just Epstein. There's 1,000 or 2,000 more of them, and that's where we should be focusing our anger towards a stupid list when the dude is dead.
I don't recall any of this when Biden was in office. In fact, Trump himself was hammering the Democrats over releasing a list. People were saying everybody from Tom Hanks to Oprah Winfrey was on the list. All of a sudden, Trump gets in power, and this is no longer important anymore. Well, let's focus on children being abused somewhere else. I don't understand that. Everybody on the right, hold on. Everybody on the right was really wanting this information. Trump promised to be transparent. The minute he gets in office, he goes 180 degrees on this. And now all of a sudden, we really don't need to talk about this. And why didn't the Democrats do it? You stated the Democrats are not being transparent. That's why we put you in there.
Right, I understand that, but guess what? We probably do have aliens that landed in Roswell. Have they ever come out with that? No. Why? National security. I'm just saying it's the same thing. Their reason is just like the reason they're not going to release the JFK files is because those people in the files are still alive. We're not going to release information to cause certain people harm for some reason. Why? Because they got tons of money and they can destroy our
then why would he lie and campaign on something he had no intentions of ever doing?
Because he probably doesn't know the significance of the evidence. And there are people who are higher than the president, even though people don't really want to realize that. We've had president after president come up there and say they're going to do something, and then they can't because there is a government in place who says you cannot do that.
So you're saying Trump is... So you're saying...
It's not within your executive power.
So you're saying... So when you're saying when Trump promised to release this stuff, he was just totally ignorant and just making a statement that he had no power to actually do. Just totally ignorant. Didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Maybe he thought he could. Just like with the JFK file, that hasn't been released either. Why? Because there are implicated factors. And you could start World War III with some of that information, maybe. Who knows?
Can I ask you a question? Why would a man that already served a full term as president of this great nation not know this stuff? You in your second term, it's like you literally are actually entering. It's like you're literally entering your senior year in high school and telling me you don't know how to get there. How could you be in your second term not knowing this stuff?
Like I just said, it is it's just a fallacy. Nobody knows everything. Nobody has the almighty power other than the guy above us. And there's just some things that you can't know. There are things that one person knows that you don't know. It's just it's a fallacy within the human brain. Nobody can know all.
You even sound dizzy trying to say that. How could you not listen? As president, as somebody who has served a full term, you can't pick up the phone and call a lawyer or somebody to find out if the shit you're saying is actually accurate or not? You're going to tell me after serving a full term in office, your excuse is I didn't know if what I could do was actually happening. You never thought to look into any of especially with the JFK shit that is like 70 years old. You didn't check out any of this during your first. You're making him look like he is. You're actually making him look. You're making him look ignorant.
But Trump had said, "I will look into being able to release that stuff." He doesn't have the almighty power that we think he does.
Okay.
Just because he says he can do something doesn't mean he can actually do it. It has to be within what? The law.
That ain't what he said when he campaigned, though. He said he was going to do it.
We know that the file, we know that the file has been sealed by a Democratic judge. It's only him who can undo.
Then why promise to release something that's sealed?
Because sometimes you can fight to have those records unsealed, but it's ultimately in the decision of the overseeing judge. That's how it works in this country.
This stuff makes sense to you. This actually makes sense to you.
And you have the executive power, and they all can be beholden to the other. That is the way the power struggle works in this country.
As opposed to all of that, is it possible that he was simply just lying about his intentions? That he simply told you he was going to do something that he never had any intentions of doing? Is it possible that maybe that was the actual route?
It is possible, but you remember the person who was in front of leading the investigation into this. He had come out and said that out of all the people he talked to and all the people he called, Trump was actually the most helpful, which means he probably gave them names. He probably told them what they had done, that he had seen, that he knew about or heard about, and was able to help them the most, which brought a lot of people to justice. So people don't know this, but there have been people indicted over the Epstein files and who have been found guilty. Just like Maxine, right? Giselle, or whatever.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say that.
You know that her dad was a Israeli spy, right? You know that he was an Israeli spy who was he was offed when he was taking a pee over the side of a yacht. They took him out. That's how her dad passed away.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I gotta move it on, but I will just say, if anybody,
and he was a multi-billionaire.
Okay, fair enough. But I'm just going to say, anybody who thought electing Trump was going to give them more transparency on this, they obviously are not getting what they voted for. If you voted for him for an economy or something else, we can debate that. But if you voted for him because you wanted to protect young children and you didn't want the elites to be able to abuse children and have some kind of pedo ring, so you didn't like the lack. Hold on. You didn't like the lack of transparency from the Democrats, and you felt confident that putting Trump in was going to help you get to the bottom, and you were going to get transparency. You're not getting that. He's not doing He's not doing a good job at releasing this information
when it comes
at
to
all.
that individual case, you may be right, but there's transparency every single day, more than any president in the last 20 years. We have more transparency with Trump than ever before with any president.
Really? So he said he won the 2020 election by a landslide. Has he been transparent on proving that?
There's plenty of proof out there. There
is plenty of proof that he won the 2020 election by a landslide.
But there's no reason to live in the past. We're in the present, and that's where I live.
Well, if there's no reason, let me ask you, if there's no reason, let me ask you, if there is
today and tomorrow.
Okay, let me ask you.
Today and tomorrow.
You're telling me
where you need to focus.
Okay, that's fine. But if you're telling me there's no reason to live in the past, can you tell me that why Trump is saying he won the 2020 election every time you put him in front of a microphone? Talking about Biden every time you put him in front of a microphone. If your statement is we need to live in the future, why is he doing that?
Because we know for a fact that mail-in ballots were a scam.
You told me live in the future. But when I give you examples of Trump constantly talking about the past, you're suddenly okay with the past now.
I'm just showing you that mail-in ballots are a scam. We all know it was a scam.
Do you want people
where did the 25 million people go? They just couldn't make it out of their house, I'd imagine, right?
Do you want people to live in the future or not? You can't make up an excuse when it's okay to do it.
25 missing.
You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question. You said we need to live in the future and not go back to the past. I started giving you.
That's right.
I started talking about how often Trump goes to the past, and suddenly now you're defending going to the past again.
Oh no, I truly believe tomorrow is a new day, and all we can do is praise the fact that this country is becoming a better place to live under the current president.
All right, we'll let you end at that. This is our first time talking there. I can't see what the name says. Shorty, what does it say? What is your name there?
The shortest straw. It's a Metallica song.
All right, appreciate it. If it's our first time talking, don't be a stranger. Come on back. Spirited debate. We're not agreeing on anything just yet, but you're always welcome back, man.
Yeah, man, I always speak the facts, and thanks for bringing me up.
Speaking of facts, I like it. He won the 2020 election by a landslide. That is a fact, right? All right, he dropped out. Anyway, he's always welcome back on the program. Please be a stranger, says Mike. And Mike, thank you for that good galaxy. I was in a heated debate at the time. I could not convey that to you, but I do want to thank you for your support. Speaking of which, Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program. Are you dizzy?
Man, Tim, I was laid up for 10 days, bro. So I'm just not feeling better, literally.
Yeah.
But goddamn, that almost set me back down. That bullshit I just heard right there. First of all, let's be very clear. There has not, since I've been on your show, I have never, ever, ever had a MAGA supporter, a Trump supporter, say something and be willing to say, pull up a source. Not fucking once.
Ooh.
Not once.
Ooh.
Not MAGA Reacts. Not Twisted. They talk about it in the comments, but they'll never say, Tim, are you in front of your keyboard? Type this, this, and this, and pull it up on the screen behind you. I've never heard them say that shit because they know they can't. Because they can't do it because the shit that they're reading is not credible source. It's not a credible source. It's their algorithm. Nothing that motherfucker just said was true. Like literally, that shit was out of some QAnon, a different galaxy shit. But he thought he was right. And then it's just, Tim, listen, because I do want to get to your topic.
Okay.
First of all, I sent you the galaxy tonight for that gem that you fucking dropped and you just talked over it.
What do you mean?
It was one of the best analogies I've heard.
Shit, well, I love credit, so let me know what you're talking about. Flattery will get you everywhere.
How can you say that you don't know? It's like being a senior in high school.
Yes.
And saying you don't fucking know how to get there. Tim, listen to me. Here's why that shit that's such a gem. He was the president before.
Yeah.
We have to ask ourselves this. 2 questions about this, and then we'll get to your topic. The average American did not know a judge, an attorney, political affiliation until this motherfucker got involved. That's a fact. You could quiz the average, if they were being honest, including myself. Well, I got forced to learn their bullshit. I didn't think about a judge's affiliation the way they've weaponized it. They've weaponized everything. If you're a Republican judge, oh well, then you're gonna rule this way. If you're a Democratic judge, then you're corrupt. We weren't having these conversations in this political process, Tim, before Trump got here.
I assume it was happening in some obscure circles in the country, but you are right. Trump, any judge that rules against him that's Democrat, he's going to bring up that you're a Democrat. As if your politics is why you ruled against him, because otherwise everything he does is right. You are right. We were not talking about it anywhere near this level before Trump came along. Just look, sometimes judges rule against you. It ain't always got to be nothing that's dealing with politics. Sometimes they see it differently than you.
Well, here's the thing. Corruption, racism, hate, those things have been around before Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't the arbiter of those things. He's a participant of those things, but he doesn't own the rights to it, but he is 100% a participant in it, for sure. Matter of fact, he's elevated all of these things since he came down that escalator. That's why we're talking so much about it. But when you start talking about, because it's a Democratic judge or a Democratic U.S. attorney, that they have to be corrupt. I mean, all the things that they say about Democrats, they were literally, when Biden, all the crying and the whining, and they were doing that same shit. But they weren't talking about leaving the country, were they?
No, and there is a lot of that. I mean, anytime a Democrat starts talking about America, or if you don't like America, I'll help you pack. And you are correct. Trump has said all kinds of vile things about America. In fact, he's still saying right now, before I took office this time last year, America was dead. That's what. But then why did you leave? I mean, so
Right.
yeah, you could throw a lot of that stuff back at him because yeah, Trump when he is not president, he is incredibly critical of America. I brought up the tweet on one of the other previous shows because we know Trump just met with Vladimir Putin, and a lot of folks on the right is championing that as Trump deserving a Nobel Peace Prize because he met with Putin and he's trying to end the war. What they don't talk about is the fact that when Russia attacked Crimea back in 2014, President Obama tried to meet with Putin, and Trump took to social media. I even have the date the tweet was posted, but he stated, any president that tries to meet with Putin is a tyrant and should not be president. He said that. And I asked the question on my life, was he wrong then and right now, or was he right then and wrong now? Because now he's saying it's a good thing that he met with Putin, but he said that Obama should have been disqualified as the commander-in-chief for doing the same thing. So he does a lot of that kind of stuff.
And so then the answer to that would be, well, Tim, you're taking it out of context, right? Right. It's never.
I don't know how you can take that out of context.
When you ask, is he untouchable? He is untouchable because the people that are.
He is untouchable. I do believe that. He is untouchable.
The people around him that he's put in place. The reason it's worse now is because the people that were around him before had a little bit of temerity, a little bit of character. If it was for nothing but the Constitution,
okay,
they had that. The people around him now are loyalists. They're willing to lie. They don't care about hurting people. They don't worry about the impacts of their decisions. They don't care about none of that shit. Simultaneously watching our military. I didn't tell you this yesterday because I told you I was. So I'm better now. When I watched the clip of our servicemen down on their hands and knees straightening out the fucking red carpet.
Ooh.
For Vladimir Putin.
Ooh. And I know, and I said that when Putin was over here, and I made the comparison of Chris Christie and Hurricane Sandy and how folks hated Chris Christie for shaking hands with Obama when he came there to give him FEMA assistance after Hurricane Sandy, and people said that was wrong. But here you got Trump shaking hands with Vladimir Putin, and suddenly it's right. I don't understand that. I mean, you got him in the beast. You got Putin in the presidential limo, Putin smiling. But yet, Chris Christie is wrong for shaking hands with Obama? I didn't understand that.
I mean, I was listening that night. Like I told you, I've been down, bro. I've been down. I was listening. But again, so let's go back to all of that. But our military, our servicemen and women are on their knees trying to figure out how to straighten the red carpet. And then his supporters just look at it and go, are you guys not paying the fuck attention? How much but we should already know how he feels about the military because he's told us at least 10 times how he feels about them, and he's shown us in his actions. So we don't have to ask how he feels. He's told us. So when people sit and they want to think that that's a good thing, well, guess what? Do you think Putin is going to do anything to stop what's going on in Ukraine? Didn't he just attack him again this morning?
Yeah, I don't think it just. But like I said, I don't think MAGA's going to hold Trump accountable. And like I said, there's so many parallels between him and Obama. I brought up also in that same lab about how in 2012 or whatever, Obama drew what he called a red line. That if the Syrians did not continue, if they didn't stop using chemical weapons, the U.S. military was going to be forced to act. The Syrians did not stop, and Obama did not follow out with his threat. So the Republicans were saying Obama was essentially a pussy for making a threat and not carrying out on it. But yet Trump has made multiple threats. If you don't stop attacking the Ukraine in 50 days, then he knocked it down to 10 days. And he's not followed through on any of that. MAGA is looking at Trump like he's a hero for not doing what he threatened. So some of this gets to be complicated because they're just judging Trump with a whole different scale.
It's not complicated, Tim. It's not complicated. You already know why. It's not complicated. we try to find reasons why somebody would rationally think this way. There's no rational thought process behind it. It's irrational. Now, there's a lot of different reasons why you can talk about irrational thought process. That's a different discussion, but it's not rational. It's not fucking rational. I mean, your analogy, sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Don't tell me Donald Trump doesn't know how this shit works and he's been here before. Because if you're telling me that, then you're telling me that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Girl. Just like you said, don't tell me you're a senior at a high school and you don't know where the fucking library is.
Yeah, that's what.
You know what I'm saying?
But I see in the comments, but in regards to what we're talking about in the comments, Ho Deuce says, bullshit again. I don't like when Trump runs his mouth and doesn't back it up. Turn on any right-wing media outlet and see if they're criticizing Trump for threatening Putin and not following up. You yourself may not like it, but the fact is the right is not holding Trump accountable for these empty threats he's making. And they were all over Obama for doing it. All over the man. So...
listen, Tim, for example, let me give you another example. And I know it's been 10 days, but I'm not going to take all the time. Let's talk about D.C. real quick and the National Guard. First of all, you know what they're not talking about? They're not talking about the economic impact that it's having on D.C. They're not talking about how businesses have lost, particularly restaurants, 31% of their foot traffic. They're not talking about that. They're not talking about how businesses are being impacted because of this shit. He's not doing it because of crime is already down. I don't give a fuck what metric you want to use.
I don't know if he had a call, but what he was talking about.
If somebody tells you that you've reduced anything by 30%, I don't give a fuck what it is. Anything is down from 30% from last year.
That's big.
It's big. I don't give a fuck what it is.
Yeah, that's big.
And so, and the fact that he didn't say it during the parade where they spent millions, he didn't say it.
Well, hold on, Mike. What about Bake Boss in the comments says businesses will pick up once crime gets cleaned up. What about that?
If again, Bake Boss is an ignorant motherfucker too.
Come on.
Because if he would listen, no, listen. The gloves are listen. With me, the gloves are off because they're not making any sense. If crime was down 30%, businesses they're not down 30% because of crime. They're down 30% because of the decision that he's making, because people are going outside, not criminals, people. Yeah. They did a poll. 89% of people in Washington, D.C. think this shit is a fucking atrocity.
Yeah, I gotta say that's something that I don't think MAGA's focusing on. And I said the same thing. I don't want to be around a whole bunch of law enforcement. If I'm driving down the street and I see a whole bunch of cops down that block, I'm not going down that fucking block. I don't want them staring at me, maybe thinking, is he wearing a seatbelt? Did he stop at the stop sign for more than 3 seconds? Did he put his signal? I'm not going to go down that block. And I do believe that a lot of folks, like what you're talking about, they're avoiding going to D.C. That ain't a great environment to be in. I don't want to be on a fucking military base. So, yeah, I do believe that it's down.
Well, of course. And the reason I went so hard at Bake Boss, his name is Bake Boss. If you're in your own business, Bake Boss, if there was a disruption based on construction on the street in front of your business, you would have a problem if people couldn't park. Therefore, your business declined. It'd be a fucking problem. So don't act like his decision to bring the National Guard in, thus impacting businesses and businesses are losing money, has anything to do with the bullshit crime thing that you believe. Because your finger's so far up his ass, you know what he had for fucking lunch. This shit is so stupid, Tim, because the bottom line is this. The same man praised the mayor for bringing crime down back in April. Tim, yes or no?
That is true. And that's something they're not bringing up. I had a long debate with a friend of mine that was outside of social media, and I asked him, because he's really big on Trump, and he's MAGA, and he certainly favors what's going on in D.C. And I said the same thing. Can you explain why this man was on TV in April saying the crime is going down? Now he's making it sound like Beirut. And he was trying to spin it some kind of way. Maybe the numbers was wrong. Trump read it wrong or something he was trying to say. But I'm like, he needs to explain why what he said. And that's the problem with Trump. We like that he's transparent. People like that he's in front of the cameras. I get it. But when you talk a lot, it gives people stuff to go back on if you're not consistent. And he often is not consistent. He often says things today that contradict shit he said yesterday. The Epstein conversation I had with the last guest is a perfect example. It's just okay, if you want to talk all the time, do that. But you need to understand, people have files and recordings of what you said yesterday. So if the shit you say today don't match, you're gonna have a problem. And his stuff never matches.
It never matches, and then it never matches in his supporters, the Twisteds, the Bake Bosses, the Julios. They make excuses for this rhetoric, but like I literally just said, Trump just said in April, he praised the mayor that crime was down to a historic 30-year low in April.
Yeah.
They just spent all these millions of dollars for the parade in June. So you telling me, by that logic, from June 16th or 15th, whenever the parade was, to August 8th, what happened, Tim? There was no major event. Did anything happen in D.C. that would have made... And again, and whatever happened in D.C. between then and then, it wasn't bigger than J6.
No. Well, I mean, to me,
I
I think the biggest accolade or the biggest thing that can be attributed to Trump is he likes to stick it to the liberals. MAGA loves him sticking it to the liberals, and that is the biggest accomplishment of what's going on in D.C. is that it is a liberal city, and Trump is telling them a big F you, I'm going to do what I want in your city regardless of how you feel about it. That, I don't think crime is even relevant because obviously we could bring up all of the high crime in liberal cities that happen to be in red states that they're just totally ignoring. I mean, if you ask anybody on the right to name a high crime city in America, they generally will say Chicago because that's what you generally hear on right-wing media. But Chicago's not even in the top 10 in terms of murders and things like that. But they keep preaching Chicago over and over again, and that's what they say. But when you think about how bad St. Louis and Memphis is, and you think about how rare you even hear the right talking about those cities, yet they're like the murder capital. They don't even mention them. So it's pretty clear it's not necessarily about actually being concerned with crime. It's about being concerned with liberal states. If you do not have a liberal governor in your state, it does not matter how much crime your cities have. Like, for instance, there are 7 states that sent the National Guard to D.C. Many of those states have cities in them that are worse than D.C. Why would you send the National Guard to a city that's less than Memphis or somebody? I mean, your state has worse cities in it, and you send it to D.C. That makes no sense at all other than the place we're sending it is a bastion of liberals, and that's who we're going after.
And it's part of the project. It's part of Project 2025. It's part of this fascist movement. I've been saying it the whole time. They can dance around it all they want. Listen, the bottom line is those that continue to support him and make excuses for all the things all the facts that we could throw at you to prove to you that what he's telling you was bullshit, and you want to tell us we don't know what we're talking about. You're the mark.
Well, I think he is on to something. I'm 100% with getting crime under control, but when you're doing it from a partisan standpoint, you lose credibility. If you want to say as president, I want to make America a safer country and I want to get crime under control, I'm not going to argue with that. But when you start saying, well, no, I only really want to do it in liberal states, I'm going to kind of leave it up to the Republican governors to do what they want to do, then you're not actually for getting rid of crime. And that's what he's doing. Like I said, it doesn't matter how bad your city is. If you have a Republican governor, you do not have to worry about the National Guard coming there. And that means he's not for solving crime doing that.
Well, he's not. Again, Tim, you've heard me say this a dozen times. You can't start a genuine conversation with a disingenuous motherfucker. Ooh. You just can't do it. Not only that, I say this. You wouldn't buy a car from a car dealership that you didn't feel comfortable with walking on the fucking lot, would you? Why would you ever do that shit?
Good point.
So Donald Trump is that sleazy car salesman. You know what you're getting from the jump. Anything and you walk on that lot, anything that comes out of his mouth after that, and you believe it or take it at face value, you're the mark now. Damn. And the bottom line is this: I can't have a conversation with Trump about crime. He's a criminal. Who is Trump really trying to? Tim,
I would hold up on calling Trump a criminal. I'll give you the last word, but it would not surprise me by the end of Trump. Hold on. By the end of Trump's term, those felonies will likely to be overturned. I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
You can say the felonies are overturned all you want. He supports crime. He excuses criminal activity. I'm about to tell you. He just pardoned criminals. He advocates.
Well, I'm gonna put on my MAGA hat and say they all do that.
Yeah, no, not like this, Tim. And see, I'm gonna slap the MAGA hat off your head real quick. Everybody that was sentenced for a crime, I bet you he doesn't even know what they did. All he knows is that they supported him.
Yeah,
so he advocates for their release. The lady that is in prison in Colorado right now for cheating and lying during the election, he's advocating for her to be released right now. Really? Why does he continue to advocate for criminals to be released? Why did Mel Gibson matter? Why do these people matter to somebody that, as the president of the United States, none of this should even hit his radar?
Well, if there's one thing to give Trump credit for, he takes care of people who look out for him. Those folks, you're right, they were fighting on behalf of him, and so if you look out for Trump, he's going to look out for you,
whether it's criminal behavior or not. All I'm telling you is he tries to get people with essay allegations in the office. He's got them around him. He's got people that with white supremacist resumes around him, Steve Miller, Steve Bannon, Peter Thiel. I mean, we can go on and on. He's got people with rapist records around him. He's got people with records for touching children around him. His own advisor just got arrested for, former advisor got arrested for touching children, Robert.
Many Republicans.
I don't know what happened to my caller.
Tim, there's so many things around this man. There's so many things wrong around this man. The wrong far outseeds the right. It's not even close.
That depends on who you ask. I got to move it on, Michael, but that depends on who you ask. Appreciate you coming in.
No, facts don't matter who you ask.
Well, perhaps. Thank you. Moving on with the program. Listen. Now he said with Trump, the wrongs outnumber the rights. MAGA's going to disagree with that all damn day. I'm getting MAGA telling me Trump is the best president we've ever had in the history of America. So, like I said, it depends on who you ask. Everybody don't think that Trump is they don't think the wrongs outnumber the rights. In fact, what my friend who is MAGA told me is look at all of the people that he is saving worldwide by ending wars. There's some legitimacy to be made to that. If he is indeed responsible for ending any war, and I absolutely believe he's exaggerating. When he says he's ended 7 or 8 wars, I don't believe that's true, but I do believe he has spoken out and ended some conflicts. I'd have to really research and figure out which ones, but because we know Palestinians in Gaza still going. We know Russia and Ukraine is still going. But I think something in the Congo or something like that. He's taking credit for ending a war between India and Pakistan, but I believe a whole lot of people are saying that's not true. So I don't know. But if he is ending conflicts, that's saving lives. So you could look at it like that. But as I told my friend, you can't give him credit for saving lives without also giving him credit for lives being ruined. The immigration policies that Trump is implementing is ruining lives. It is ruining lives. There are plenty of people that have been detained and maybe even deported that should not have been. So, I mean, it depends on what your favor. I mean, his immigration policies are definitely ruining lives. So it ain't all rainbows. There is also some turds in there as well. But looking in the comments, though, and somebody says, lie, real talk, you don't think that Trump's immigration policies has ruined any lives at all? Really? And Platron says they are illegal. No. If you get rid of temporary protected status, if you take an asylum seeker and just reject their case, that's not an illegal. That's just somebody you just canceled all their hopes and dreams of kicking them out. Some of these folks who claimed asylum or who are here on temporary protected status may have been here for a year or two. and maybe they have a kid and a wife now. You just fuck it. You're going home. I don't give a. No, that ain't illegal. That's you changing the rules and just fucking that person's life up. So the idea that he hasn't ruined any lives is a bit wrong. And the idea that everybody Trump is deporting is an illegal immigrant or undocumented is wrong. There are plenty of folks with green cards that they're finding. So, well, you got a green card, but we see here you have an immigration violation back in 2005. We're going to kick you out. I mean, there's all kinds of wild shit happening. So the idea that it's all just illegal immigrants, that's what they're telling you. That's not true. Remember, this started out with rapists and murderers. Now we're all the way down to, well, you know, you got a DUI from 18 years ago. I mean, it's just anything. What came down the pipe really is anything you can find to deport somebody, do that. Just like there was this big melee, and I'll go back to the box, but this whole big thing about, remember Ferguson, Missouri, you know, where it turned out they did rule the cop had a justifiable shooting. But under Obama, the DOJ, Eric Holder, looked into it, Attorney General, whatever his title was, but he looked into it and found out that the cops were giving everybody discretionary tickets. Tickets where you have a choice where you don't have to give them one or not. Like you see a guy jaywalking. You don't have to give him a ticket. You can give him a warning. Just giving everybody, in other words, anybody you can give a ticket to, I want you to give it to them, no matter how minor the offense is. That's what they're doing with the deportations. Anybody you can find any reason to deport, I want you to do it. I don't care how minor the offense is, no matter what it is. If it qualifies as a deportational offense, do it. Give no discretion. I don't care how long ago it was, whatever. And that's what they're doing to people. That's exactly what's happening. And I see in the comments a few folks favor that, saying deport them all. And that's what he's doing. That he's actually giving you, like you say, I voted for that. That's what he's doing. He's deporting people all. But when you ask, why are liberals in favor of letting illegals and bad people stay in the country? It's because that it's not they're all bad. They're not all illegals. It's going against the whole plan of deport them all. That's what we're not under get rid of bad hombres, rapists, and murderers. We're under a deport them all standpoint. And that's why some people are against it. Nobody can name one U.S. citizen that got deported. You can name them that got detained. You can name people that are being wrongfully stopped in this shit. In regards to naming a U.S. citizen that has been deported, I don't know if you would be able to. Because understand, if you don't give me due process, that means I don't get a day in court. So if you grab me on the street and put me in a van and deport me, and you tell the American public, well, he was an illegal immigrant, MAGA's going to believe that 100% of the time. I don't get a court date, so I can't tell anybody that I'm an American citizen. I could be sitting in El Salvador anywhere. I mean, so when you say, well, you can't name an American citizen that's been deported, you don't, there's no way to know. When you give him the ability to just do whatever he wants, and there's no way to know. Anyway, let me go back to the box. We can name people who were following the rules that got deported. Yeah, all of the TPS people are kind of in that category. Continuing on with the program, though, Maisha. Now you came in the live earlier, and you were in that live where I was being attacked, and you came in with some strong points. They didn't like you, but is that Maisha? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, this is us. They didn't like us.
Yeah, they didn't like. Oh, you said they didn't like us. Okay. Yeah, they didn't. They did not like. When you say us, you mean you and me, or is this something else?
I mean, I said what I said, and they immediately started attacking you. Yeah. So I'm gonna say they didn't like us.
Okay, fair enough. I thought because sometimes us can be a racial thing too, but yeah, it was.
No.
I'm just saying they did not like us in whatever sense of the word it was. But look, I'm used to going in MAGA lives and I get attacked every time I go there, so that's not a problem. But we're talking about Trump being untouchable, knocking Letitia James' lawsuit to the side today. Do you see him as I see him, as a untouchable commander-in-chief?
No.
You don't see him based on what?
I believe that delayed is not denied. So
he's an 80-year-old man, though, Maisha.
Huh?
He's almost 80 years old. How much longer do you have to I mean, delayed is pretty damn good if you're 80.
That may be true, but I think a lot of the things that he did are really coming in light right now. And so he's going to pay for it right now. I also think that...
Pay for it how?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm a parent. I'm very spiritual in my life.
Now, see, Honey Dipsy in the comments said God will get him. I heard you say spiritual. One of the commenters said God will get him, but go ahead.
And I believe that, but I think that it will take place with his children as well. Ooh. So all of the things that he is doing right now to set them up for a good life, because like you said, he's 80. He's not going to be able to enjoy anything that he's doing. However, I think some of the things that he's doing will hurt the people who he thinks he is trying to protect.
In what way?
I think that they won't have the life that he had. I think that the things that Kushner's doing, I think it's going to come back. I think some of the things about Ivanka are going to come to life. I think the fraud that they're committing as far as like just trying to enrich themselves as a family, I think that's going to turn around, and it's going to be an investigation where they lose everything. And not only what they gained during the time of his presidency, but before that, because there are going to be so many investigations and so many lawsuits, they won't be able to afford them to maintain anything. Wow. They're going to lose a whole lot more after this. And on top of that, history, which is the craziest part about this thing, for him to turn around and go on the news and say he thinks he is going to find the pearly gates. Everything about the pearly gates are going to say, fuck you. Hell no. I don't, in the words of Keke Palmer, I don't know this man. I feel sorry for this man. I have no idea who this guy is.
Well,
it's literally South Park Satan at this point.
Damn. You know something, now that you've orated it, because I don't think Trump is going to be held accountable. I think he's going to ride off into the sunset, a wealthy guy. However, I do agree with you that there is a really good chance that his family, because if the liberals get back in office, there is some legitimate things there. For instance, Trump is going after, as some of my folks are saying, deport them all. Trump is going after immigrants. Yeah, Trump is going after immigrants. Are you talking to somebody else?
When the liberals get back in the
office. Hold on a second. What I'm saying is, with the way Trump deportation policies are, for instance, where he's getting people that if you can be deported, he's going to deport you, no matter how long ago the violation is. When you say going after his family, Melania Trump is here on a visa violation. She got here on an Einstein visa. She does not qualify for that. So if the liberals use Trump's method of holding you accountable for immigration violations, no matter how far back they are, Melania Trump would qualify. There's no way in hell she should have got an Einstein visa. There's no way she should have got that. So I don't favor going back in the past and going after people like that. But if your husband has done that to thousands of people, she could be in trouble with that. I could easily see liberals calling for her to be investigated because she did not have a right to be here on an Einstein visa. So, yeah, he is opening up the door to family members. And then you brought up Jared Kushner and all that stuff. That stuff probably will come up.
It more than will come up. And what I hate is for those on the backside of this is, for a man like Donald Trump, who is truly only interested in himself, like, that's it. He is the only interest. He's the only person of interest, however you want to look at that. He has not considered what this is going to do to anybody else who is in his orbit, or he has considered it and said, I don't give a damn. Those are your two choices. And you asked a question earlier about whether I support what Gavin is doing.
Yes.
It's 50-50. It's 50-50.
What do you mean by 50-50?
Do I support it? I'm going to tell you. Do I support it? I absolutely the fucking do. The problem is, you should double it. Take 10 seats.
Oh, my God.
Because what I want you to do, let me tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Because if he had threatened 10 seats, I think it would make them turn around and say, oh, shit, we can't find this many. So when I put you in a position where you cannot find this many seats that I can give up, it changes everything. Now you have to play by my rules. Because if you don't, I'm going to outdo you.
I don't know if Gavin would try to get that many seats. I mean, I don't know what kind of federal lawsuits the federal government can impose against the state of California, because at that point I mean, even with 5 seats, you're just making so many people in the state vote not matter. Being able to just find 5 seats like that at the president's behest, it should just be illegal for Trump or Gavin Newsom to do it. But I do get your point. 10 seats, wow.
I do agree that it should be illegal. Yeah. I think my point is, sometimes you cannot fight fire with fire. Sometimes you have to fight fire with something that's bigger than a fire. And that is because when you match energy, sometimes it works, but sometimes I need you to know I'm big energy. I'm more than what you have. So I have to be able to calm you down and say, hey, how about we don't do this? Because if you do it, what I have is so much more than what you have. So let's just not do this, because it's going to be a whole lot worse than
Yeah, but Maisha, even some of the liberals in California do not favor, basically taking their voting power out of their hands, because that's what gerrymandering and redistricting is doing. You're taking the voting power out of the people and just saying this area is going to go this way no matter how you vote. It is rigging an election. Something Trump talked about when he first came down the escalator about elections being rigged. What he is telling Texas to do, and now what Gavin Newsom is doing in California, that is rigging an election.
So they've been doing it. And I want to be very clear. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
I worked hard on saying that shit. You're like, so?
So I don't care. And the reason why I don't care, because I want to be very clear to people who follow me who don't know. I live in Georgia. I'm in I want to say a very red state for the most part. Mm-hmm. It's only these last 4 years, maybe 5 years, that Georgia has been, oh my goodness, there's a chance. No, we don't live in a state. And I live in a state where they have literally been purging people off of the voting rolls. To the point where I have had conversations with friends and family members. I want to tell you to check your voter registration, but do me a favor. Don't check it until right before it's time to vote.
Wow.
Because I have to say it, because they'll go back and take you off. And so as many times as you go back and re-register, how about we don't do that? I want you to check it right at the very last minute, so they don't have time to take you off. So we're at a point where they're playing chess, and I want to be very clear. I'm playing mahjong. I'm playing a completely different game with these people. We have to do that in order to make this work. And I applaud Gavin for doing it. I just wish that he would have took it a step up to say, if you're going to do this and with 5 seats, I'm going to look for 7. I'm going to look for 8. I'm going to make you regret getting to 5, because 5 against 5, that's basketball. I played it all day.
Damn.
But 5 against 7, I've never beat 7 people with 5. And I don't want to try it.
You drive a hard bargain, Maisha, but I think there's a whole lot of liberals that would agree with you. I'm not a fan of rigging elections, but your point is well taken. If the other side is doing it, you have no chance at a fair fight unless you do it in return. And it's just amazing. MAGA's 100% behind what he's doing in Texas. So I guess Gavin Newsom really had no other choice. Do you see Gavin being the Democratic nominee? Are you starting to like him a little bit?
I love Big Daddy G. Not gonna lie.
So you I thought Trump was the only politician we were calling daddy. Oh my Lord.
Big Daddy G has my vote for forever. I will say this. A lot of people let Kamala down. They did. And I want to be clear. The reason why I haven't spoken to you in so long is the last time we did, I was so confident that we were going to show up for her. And Unfortunately, not only did we not, but I think a lot of people are starting to see the difference between the two. Yeah. And I hate it for anybody who come on and say, well, Democrats and Republicans, they're all the same. No, we are not.
No, they're not the same. But I mean, the problem is...
One right. Correct. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say the problem is the Hispanics, and I mean, women too. I mean, predominantly white women, but women voted for Trump, and the Hispanics voted for him in large numbers. In fact, he won the Hispanic male vote. I mean, because listen, the black population, even though a little bit of the men voted for Trump, the black population overwhelmingly voted for Kamala Harris. But the other groups, the Hispanic and the and obviously the white population, went for Trump. I mean, and the Hispanics, listen, if you're white and you like Trump's policies, look, I don't have an argument there. But the Hispanics voted for somebody that's really just tearing their communities apart. They probably got hurt worse than anybody. Because right now, the black community is making all these claims that Trump is racist or whatever, but the black community is not really suffering. The Hispanic community, they can't go out the street without ICE hanging around everywhere they go. I mean, they're getting trashed because of that.
I want to go back to a statement that you just made about they're making all the claims about Trump being racist or whatever. He is. It is what it is. He said what he said. He made it very clear. Dear Hispanic people, I need you to come back and work in the fields because these inner city NIGG letter people are not doing it.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that very specific word.
You can't pin that on him. He didn't say that.
Well, he did say because the inner city people are not doing it. Who are the inner city people?
But he didn't use the N word. But you tried to pin the N word on him. He didn't say that.
No, well, so what he said was the inner city people are people who live in where? Yeah. Baltimore, Atlanta.
Yeah, it's black jobs.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's black jobs. I get what you're saying.
Okay, so again, I didn't say he said that word in particular, but it's code word IEDEI. It's like changing DEI. We know exactly what you're saying.
There is some of that.
I know what you mean.
There is some of that. Maisha, I do got to move it on, but I'm glad to have you back. Hopefully the conversations get more enlightening. Huh?
Why did I get booted so fast?
No, I got a few other people. I mean, we normally do 10, but we've been letting a few people hang around a little bit longer. We normally do a good 10 for you. We give you plenty of time. You're always welcome back.
Maisha? I guess. All right. But I'm going to continue to watch. I just wanted to say that I watched Chris earlier. And Chris, I just want you to know, I'm sorry. It was my fault. When I came on, that's when he got booted. So sorry. It was me. They kicked him out because of me. But it was a couple of things that were said. I just want to be very clear in going into this new space that people, I just want you to remember, this is not about race when it comes to Trump. Even though race is on the top of his list in so many ways, it's class. If you don't have money, he does not care. And just remember, the American system has been for us, you have taught a lot of people who look like me that if you don't go to school, get an education, you won't get anything. Now that we have gone to school, gotten that education, it is you that are not being left behind.
All right.
We didn't do what we're doing to hurt you. We did this for us. So what can we do now? And I hope that somebody just takes that in to say, how can we move forward, America? And I'm out.
Fair enough. Maisha, pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming through. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get the likes on up. I haven't solicited that at all tonight. If you enjoy, I'm dealing with a cold, so my apologies. This is day 3 of me being under the weather. I wasn't going to do a live tonight, but I know a lot of you saw me in that live that a couple callers have talked about. So I figured I'd come on here and talk to the folks. I always enjoy hearing from MAGA. I didn't get a lot of MAGA tonight. I had one guy. We always view MAGA as a preferred guest. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to 45,000 on the likes. Swear to God, I got to get an HDMI cord. Anyway, you guys know how the program is, Rando. And by the way, we're on Facebook now. We are on Tim Liberals. That is the name of the Facebook account. Thank you, folks that have followed as I asked. But we're currently live on Facebook as well. So tonight we're on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. We don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly always, every day since day one. We don't have any moderators or any of that stuff. So if you like civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you or dictate how you should speak or think, you're in the right place. If you favor that, follow the program. If you're watching on TikTok, and if you are watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. Please get a Truth Social account. Can you go live on Truth Social? I damn sure would do that. I would love to get a Truth Social account. Can you go live in the manner we are now on Truth Social? Somebody let me know yes or no. Can you go live on Truth Social? Because I'll do that tonight. I would do that tonight. I have a Rumble account. Rumble started out leaning right, but Rumble is kind of pretty much, went by the wayside. So I never really, in fact, Rumble reached out to me. One of their people reached out to me and told me to create an account. I did, and nothing came out of it. But can you go live on Rumble in a way where people can type in comments and, and speak the way they feel? Because I would absolutely go live on Rumble if you could. But Tim, you could only say good things about Trump, otherwise he'll throw you off. Ain't nothing I can do about that. If I go on Rumble and we're speaking open without censorship in regards to how we feel and the app throws us off, then Rumble is full of snowflakes. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm not going to go on any app and only speak the way that some app creator wants you to speak. I get it. I do understand that if you're in a MAGA environment, they're not going to be favorable to being critical of Trump. They just want you to keep bashing Biden and Kamala Harris. But I'm not going to do that. I mean, I take a lot of flack from liberals for defending Trump, but I'm not going to just go into some place where I got to speak only favorable of Trump. That's not fair at all, or that's not free speech at all. Love Trump or leave. No, if it's like that, then because isn't that the reason that Elon purchased Twitter and turned it into X, and Trump created Truth Social, is they were tired of the censorship from the left? Are we suggesting that they went out and took control and just done the same shit in favor of the right? That was the whole purpose, is they purchased Twitter. Elon purchased Twitter from their folks, turned it into X because he claimed there was too much censorship on there. And that's why Trump created Truth Social. There was too much liberal censorship. Are we suggesting that they simply did the same shit once they got in control for their side? We're not going to do that. One sick, evil, bully rat, says Eager. Damn. Facebook, the liberal super channel, and it's Tim Liberals on Facebook. That's what it is. We'll go back to the box. And I see a lot of folks are saying, so Trump just created Truth Social, and Elon just bought X to just turn it into a right-wing platform where they're censoring the left now, huh? That ain't no better than what they claim they were trying to stop. Rumble is free speech version of YouTube. It ain't enough people on Rumble. Like I said, I do have a Rumble account. I've had it for quite a while, probably a year or more. There's just nothing there. A lot of the podcasters, the Boinginos and stuff were on there, but I didn't see enough activity on it. I ran on it for a while. I didn't see anything. So it is what it is. Why are you always playing make-believe? I don't know what you mean by that. We'll go back to the box. Somebody is mentioning the one and only gangster grandma. So, if she's being called up, let's call her up. He is not going to censor you, Tim. I hope not. Look, I know if I go on Truth Social, if I go on X, I'm going to get tore up by the right. I'm fine with that. But as long as I can speak, I'm good.
By the right, Jimmy.
Huh?
I mean, you get tore by the right all the damn time. You let those mofos talk shit to you. Like today, they dropped your black ass for what? Because they don't like to hear the truth?
I get tore by you too, though, gangster grandma.
Yeah, because I'm on your side and I can't stand you fluffing, drinking uncooked protein. So I have a reason to go off on your ass, you little chunky wonky ass. But unfortunately, see, I'm on your side. You better be lucky. I treat you better than those fucking fools do.
So some would say with a friend like you, who needs enemies? So you're on my side.
At least I be packing. I'll be packing. I won't let those damn scumbags put you in a tree. Shit. I'll put their asses on a damn t-shirt. And tell me why. You know what? I'm off the subject. But my fat ass made some over-the-top ice cream that'll put you on your ass, right? And guess what? My fat ass couldn't feel my legs, man. That's how good it was. I couldn't feel my legs.
Oh, my Lord.
That means you so high.
Okay, that's some really good ice cream, apparently.
Yeah, one of my people is fighting cancer, and she asked me. She's always in my dispensary, and she asked me, "Can you make some ice cream?" I said, I got me a ninja, ice cream maker. I'll make you some. I'll try it. Boy, did I make some, put my fat ass on my ass. I couldn't feel my legs.
Well, speaking of delicious ice cream, how about an untouchable scoop of the president? Is he untouchable or what?
No. You know what? I'm a straight fucking lesbian. I will play with myself. I'll do everything. I would never have that man up around me. And you know what? He's despicable. He's a disgrace to the human race. You know what we do need? His cholesterol goes sky high so we can put him in a body bag. How about that?
Are you wishing death upon the president?
Yeah, I've been wishing death on him. What are you talking about, Willis? There ain't nothing new. We need Big Macs, French fries, quarter pounders. We need something to take his ass out. He's on his last leg. He over here saying, "I'm going to go to heaven if I stop this war." No, bitch. You got a special place in hell.
I mean, you are an American wishing and hoping for the death of your leader. How does that look?
And what? Well, what? You want a cookie, Tim? I ain't like you. I don't drink the uncooked protein. I don't get syphilis and gonorrhea and shit for undrinking that shit. You got me fucked up. Shit, I stay chocolate. I know where my protein comes from. I ain't fucking with that shit over there. You feel what I'm saying? You got me fucked up.
Look,
hallelujah.
I get there are reasons to like and dislike Trump, but you sound like you really hate the man.
What did I tell you? I hate the man. God will forgive me. God's a forgiving God. You feel what I'm saying?
How do you think America would be if he suddenly passed away and you're in the street celebrating?
I wouldn't know if I wish death on everybody. Let me tell you something. And she's good people, but let me tell you something. He wished death on all of us. That motherfucker don't like nobody. Trump don't like nobody but the rich people. He don't like black folks. He don't like brown folks and everything else. So why not?
Okay.
God said he'll forgive us.
Hold on.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hold on 1 second. I want to read this and we'll talk about it because I haven't heard this. Sean B in the comments, thank you. He says the Gestapo in D.C. are breaking into people's unattended cars using an airbag tool to separate the doors to get in, possibly to plant evidence. Since crime is low, no warrants, there is video evidence. Has anyone seen? Now he's saying Gestapo. He's talking about the all of the police that Trump has sent to D.C.
Yeah, they're doing it. But you know what though? Do you guys know what the Second Amendment is? If people really need to go look at the Second Amendment, because
but let's stay on this topic though. Have you seen any videos that the police are breaking in people's cars and literally planting evidence to get higher arrest numbers for Trump?
I don't know about that, but I wish a bitch would break into my car. I'll kill it. I will put them on a t-shirt. I don't give a damn who the fuck you is.
What are you gonna do if you look out the wait, gangster? If you look out the window and 4 motherfuckers with ARs and masks are breaking into your car, you're not putting them on a t-shirt. You're gonna go out there and get killed. What are you talking about?
Why would they do that to? Are they really doing that?
That's what he's saying.
That's fucking crazy. That's why we need that's why the Second Amendment is going to be coming in handy. Because you know why? The Second Amendment is about militias.
You're not going to use your Second Amendment rights on a bunch of...
Let me tell you something, Chevy. You're a scary ass. Because let me tell you something. Who does not have an AR anymore? Who does not have an AR? I'm a grandma and I got one.
Now, aren't you partially Hispanic?
What is Afro-Latina?
Right. And do you see what's happening to the Hispanic community and you don't see them using any of their firearms to stop it? All this crap about the Second Amendment stops tyranny,
You know what?
that's not
Because
true.
you're undocumented. Let me tell you, that's not true. You know what, Tim? Quit fluffing. Quit being so fucking white.
Sure.
The Second Amendment is for what is happening right now. Go research it. It's for militias. And we got one hell by big one coming and doing shit to people.
Did you hear?
That's a militia.
Did you hear what I said? I'm not arguing with your tyranny claim. What I'm saying is, if you believe what Trump is doing to the Hispanic community is tyranny, I'm showing you that there's a whole lot of Hispanics that own firearms and they ain't doing shit to stop it. So it's happening anyway, even with your Second Amendment.
A lot of them is undocumented and they don't even know the fucking laws. Why don't you get that through your head?
It ain't just
A
happening.
lot of them is undocumented and they don't know the damn laws. But you know what? The United States people do.
It ain't just
Black
happening
and
to
brown,
the.
you know what? That's why they're scared of black and brown people. Black and brown people stood up. I guarantee you.
So you think if they start doing it to black and brown, if they start doing it to, because brown people letting it happen, it's the black people. It ain't black and brown. Because
Who's letting this shit happen? The brown people don't want this shit to happen.
But-
You know what, Tim? You're fixing to get choked the fuck out. You know what? They did it to United States citizens back in the 30s. W back. Okay? They're not letting this shit happen. People are out there protesting this shit. But we need to get more deviant. Now, we got the Second Amendment on our side. We got more of us than they got them. I'm just saying.
I'm just simply telling you, the brown Americans, the Hispanic community, are getting ravished by Trump and ICE. And
But guess what? That's not just the brown people. It's the Haitians. It's black people. You know, quit saying it's just it's black and brown. They're coming for everybody. And then he announced that he's going to go through, 50 million visas? Do you really think he's going to do it for the white man? No, he's going after the black and brown visas.
What I'm saying is, when it comes to communities getting ravished, the overwhelming majority of this is happening to the brown community. And even though they have firearms, it's still happening. So it's not stopping tyranny.
You watch. I'm telling you, there's going to be some shit popping off. You watch. People are going to take so much of this shit, and the Second Amendment is going to come and play. People is only going to take so much of this white team man in office. People say, no, it's about being rich or poor. It's both. It is. It's about rich being poor, but it is racism too. Because if it wasn't racism, why is he taking shit out of the what are those museums? Why is he putting the white tea people back up in the Black City, Washington D.C.?
That's where the crab is, because that's where the crab is at.
No, you don't. The statue again? The statue?
That's a different argument.
That's not a thing. You know what, Tim? I swear to God.
What?
You want me to go get whipped? You want to bend over and get whipped or something? I mean, yes, master. I mean, because you sure is. You sure is.
What are you talking about?
Fucking uncooked protein. How does it taste like? I know it don't taste like chocolate. Is it what? Uncooked mayonnaise and shit? What?
What are you?
What is it?
Look, I think you're just painting Trump sometimes in a really harsh light, and
I think he's painting all of us in a fucking harsh ass way. How about that? Huh, Tim? How about that? He's saying that we're rapists and you know I can't say that word, but you know he's saying that. Oh, you, huh?
What is Trump?
Come on, Tim. Black jobs. Get the fuck out of here. Quit being so fucking white.
Well,
I shit you not. Get the fucking bleach out your fucking mouth and his dang-a-lang, his little mini banana that your dad is fucking on. You don't want me to talk shit. Get some fucking kahunas and get some damn kahunas bigger than mine, and I don't have any. And let's step up, man. You a black man going to get fucked up, tore up on the floor from this damn administration, and you're still gagging on it. I don't know how the fuck you can gag.
Well, I think you're going a bit overboard. I think you're going a bit overboard. But Billy the Kid.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
no, I'm not, Tim. Because it's you. You're the type of people that will say, yes, master. Oh, let's not do it this way. Let's be nice about it. Let's be this about. Fuck that. That's why our city, I love me some white governor. And he is sexy as shit to be a white boy. I tell you what, I promise you, I will go. I don't know about that white boy, but let me tell you, he got some fucking balls.
You talking about
Why
Gavin
don't you
Newsom?
get some of
You
that?
talking about Gavin
Yes.
Newsom?
Why don't you get some of that kind of balls? And go square the fuck up and quit kissing these white tea men's asses on your platform and let them degrade you, call you colored, and every damn thing else, and you thinking, oh, well, that's their opinion. That's their freedom. I will bust them in their fucking chops.
Okay, Billy the Kid says, I bet Gangsta Grandma secretly listens to country music and masturbates to Trump.
No, I'm into hip hop. I'm into blues. I'm into soul. You will not get me into no Hickaville shit like that.
Wait.
You got me fucked
He
up.
says you secretly masturbate to Trump.
I would never masturbate to a white man. No offense to the cool white people. I'm pro-black. I love my chocolate. You feel what I'm saying?
You get some of
I would never, ever touch uncooked meat.
You got some of my folks like Ron saying this woman is racist to the core.
You know what's racist? You know what's racist is? What he's doing to our people. Do you know what racist is? That slavery wasn't as bad. That's what's racist, okay? I'm coming at you, motherfuckers, like you come for us, okay? I tell it like it is. You don't like it, kiss my black ass. How about that?
What?
I'm not like you. I'm not gonna bow down to the white tea man. I'm not gonna knee to them. Well, after what he said about our slavery, you got me fucked up. That's why the United States, half the motherfucking population is racist. You white tea people, you fucking the motherfuckers that voted for this shit. Yeah, you motherfucker, you are racist. No, I'm not white. I'm far from being white.
Everybody thinks you're racist.
Well, you know what? They kiss my black ass. How about that? You know what racism is? You got in a fucking office. What racism is? We're dealing with it every fucking damn day. You know what racism is? When you have a motherfucker telling you that slavery wasn't that fucking bad.
So, and I see in the comments, JB says, keep listening to her. You'll be a Republican in no time. Damn. Are you swaying people away from the Democratic Party?
You know what? They want the Democrats to bow to knee to them. They want us to say, yes, master, and I will never. You got me fucked up. I would never say yes, master, to the white man that is in that office right now. You got me fucked up. That makes me racist. Kiss my ass. And I'll be that racist then.
All right, gangster.
You know what, Tim? I'm not racist. I like my white tea people that voted for her. I like them. I like the normal white tea people. Like I said, if it was a maggot and the white tea people that voted, and both was drowning, I'm picking tea woman that voted for her.
What if you met?
I'll let the other one suffer.
What if you met a really nice white person, but they admitted they liked Trump and they voted for him? Would that change it?
You kiss my ass too.
So simply voting for Trump.
You realize I kicked my own man out because he voted for him. A black man kicked him out because he voted for him.
You were married. Wait. You were hanging out with Black MAGA?
No.
What did you just say? You just said you kicked your old man out. What did you say?
My boyfriend. Okay, my boyfriend. Yes.
So your boyfriend. You were dating and sleeping with Black MAGA.
No, I didn't think he voted for him. Okay, so one day, something told me tweet, go into his phone and see what happened. So I tweet. Okay, I did. I tweeted, and I went through his phone, and behold, what that motherfucker said. I voted for him. Then I confronted his ass. I said, "You did what?" And he said, "Yeah, I did. I voted for him." I said, "Okay." To the left, bitch. Get your shit.
So you know what? You know what that means? That means that you definitely have some MAGA in you, or you've had some MAGA in you.
No, yeah. I douched it all out too. Okay. I sure did. And I told his sorry piece of shit ass. Take your ugly ratchet ass out my house. I took the shit. I paid for him. I bought his J's and shit. I did that shit. I took my shit and gave it to the homeless. And I told him, well, you two, you brought into this relationship, you take the fuck out. Goodbye. Kiss my ass.
Well,
Yep. And I lost friends. I have a friend right now. She texted me. She said, I regret my vote. I said, okay, and what? Okay, and what? You still ain't my homie. See, Tim, I'm cool as hell. I am. But when you double cross me, you voted for the maggots. You voted for somebody that's destroying this country. Destroying this country.
They don't see that. They see him bringing down crime, getting the economy back on track, ending wars.
Crime was already going down. What the fuck is wrong with him?
He's ending wars. I mean, they don't see what you're saying.
Well, what war has he ended? Please tell me.
The Russian-Ukrainian war. He's working on that one.
He's not ended it. They just bombed the shit out of them and took out what is it? What is that called? American a business.
He's working on it.
He's not working. Oh, see, that's what. Quit cum guzzling.
Well,
are you choking on
damn,
it?
cum guzzling. Wait a minute. Unlike Biden, at least he has met with both leaders on both sides and tried to at least.
Hey, go for what? Biden did it right. Biden should never meet with our enemy. What are you talking about?
Biden was just going to let the war.
You sound like a maggot.
Biden.
He should meet with the our enemy. Get the hell.
Biden was going to just let the war go on and on. At least Trump is trying to end it. Is that not something he should get credit for?
Okay, hold on. Somebody talk about my kids. Hold on, fuck on. Let me tell you something with your white trash ass. Don't ever put my kid's name in your mouth. My kids ain't half white. My kids are Afro-Latinas. Do you understand? The black excellence. You wish you had my kids. So don't ever put my kid's name in your mouth, because I will drag you to the pits of hell and back, and I'll take it off of TikTok. Fuck with my kids again.
All right, Instagram, I do got to move it on. That's
but I'm telling you, tell me.
Real quick, go ahead.
Answer my question. What did he do? What did he do with the war? He hasn't did nothing. He ain't gonna get that peace prize, so quit gagging on his balls. Okay? I still like your ass, but quit gagging on his balls. You're still my homie, my little fluffy, but I cannot take your shit. And push more back on the white tea people, the maggots. I'm not talking about.
I'm under the weather. How about that? I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm trying my best. Give me credit. Give me credit.
Tim.
I'm ailing right now. I gotta move it on Instagram.
Tim, I can have a sore throat and I'll still go off on him. But you really do guys step up, Tim, and have it. Because look what he just said about slavery, Tim, on some real shit.
I hosted a whole show on that shit. I gotta go, Instagram. I hosted a whole show on that. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. Listen, I don't like Trump talking about. She's talking about the slavery comment. We covered that whole thing yesterday in detail. In fact, shit, I got 65,000 likes on this show. I had over 200 and something. A lot of folks watched that. That was a heavily watched live. I mean, in fact, here's the backdrop for that show. We talked about that yesterday, where he was favorable to history concerning the Confederates and not favorable to history concerning slavery. And I said, I don't know how to defend that. It does make him look bad, what she's talking about. I don't have a defense for that. I mean, so I get what she's saying, but we did cover that. King Finn, you said I would really like the question answer. What is the question? Anyway, looking in the comments, why are we still talking about slavery that happened almost 200 years ago? You know, who said that? What does that say? Skate Wild or something like that? I like to give you guys, I don't like to just say comments. I like to give you credit for the comments. Skate Wild. And I appreciate all your comments, whether they're good or bad, critical or complimentary. But when you ask the question, why are we still talking about slavery that happened almost 200 years ago? The answer is simple. If you're okay with people flying the Confederate flag and still talking about that, you cannot exclude slavery. The events are happening at the same time. Why are we still talking about the Confederate flag? That also happened 200 years ago. That's when you start looking biased, is when you want slavery to go away, but then you're talking about pride and heritage with the Confederate flag. The two events happen literally simultaneously. If you want to discuss your ancestry, your pride and heritage, your Confederate ancestry, you can't say, I want to talk about my people, but I want you to stop talking about your stuff because it happened 200 years ago. They happen at the same time. In fact, anytime you start discussing the Confederate flag and how it should be around, you're opening up the door to talk about slavery. Because you talking about your ancestors are going to remind these people of theirs. So if you want that shit to go away, then the Confederate flag should go away too. Unless you're saying that my history is important and yours should go to hell, because that's the way I'm hearing it. They happen literally at the same time. Literally at the same time. So anybody flying the Confederate flag should be totally okay with anybody talking about slavery. Literally at the same time. Looking in the comments, but I know you do that. Okay, you guys are talking to each other there, Twisted. They should be named after Confederate. They should be named after Confederate general. They were an enemy force. Yeah, like I said, to me, when you start naming bases back at the Confederates, and Trump is talking about, I don't want to erase history. If you're going to adamantly state, I don't want to erase Confederate history, then you're making it clear we should keep talking about this shit. But you can't say, let's talk about the Confederate history, but we need to get over slavery. That literally is probably one of the biggest pieces of fuel for why people are saying Trump is a racist, because it does look like you're saying only whites in America should talk about their history and the blacks should shut the fuck up. Like I said, it would be different if he had spoken in favor of putting the Confederate names back and had not made those anti-slavery discussion talks. There will be some plausible deniability. But when you speak favorable of the Confederates and then actually say we're talking about slavery too much, right after naming all this stuff at the Confederates, it does look like you are making a biased choice in who it is okay to discuss their history. He definitely did that. So that is where some of that stuff is coming from, and I don't have an explanation for that. I'm willing to give Trump credit where I can give it to him at, but I don't have any explanation for why he is favorable to Confederate history and critical of slavery. I don't have any other than, like I said, black people should shut the fuck up, and white people should only be the ones that can discuss their ancestry. MAGA needs to go find a huge piece of land and build it up. Putin offered you SKN, skin. What are you saying there? It's let's never forget 1,000 underage victims, one woman charged. I don't know what you're saying there, but he's a, what does that say? He's a Trump something. Anyway, I don't know. You should learn from your past. That was an illiterate question. It's the educated and or illiterate. Don't know what you're saying there either. Anyway, going back to the comments, because it's all out of the Project 2025 playbook, says Tamar. Well, you know, Trump has denied any involvement with Project 2025 to begin with. He says he never read it. He has no desire to do it, but it is to be reckoned that you can read Project 2025, and whether Trump ever read it or not, or has any concern with it or not, his administration is paralleling the hell out of that that literature. A lot of that stuff is coming true. So whether or not you read it or not, this is where the country is going. I mean, the country is going in a much further right direction, and fast. Lisa and Coach Jam say he is a pathological liar. Well, that's our president, whether you trust him or not. Continuing on with the comments, the evil Majin Boo. Good evening, welcome to the program. We are here. Fascism, says Don. Really? You think right now America's a fascist country? Evil Majin Boo, good evening. Yeah. Can you hear me? Evil Majin Boo. Okay, apparently he can't hear me. We'll continue on. Twisted, why can't you just say what he means? King Finn, what are you saying there? I didn't see Twisted in there. You completely misunderstood what he said, but you do that on purpose to push your narrative. What did I misunderstand? I mean, the guy has spoken. I mean, he said that the Smithsonian focuses too much on slavery. In fact, we covered this in detail yesterday, but just quickly, here's a quote. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. That's what he actually said. Now, first of all, when you say that it focuses on how bad slavery is, how can you describe slavery without making it look horrible? I mean, okay, anybody who talks about slavery, it's bad. If somebody discusses slavery in a way that does not look bad, they're not describing it right. I mean, we don't even cover a lot of we cover slavery as an awful existence from a standpoint of you not being free. But the violence, the rapes, the babies, that we don't even cover all that stuff. The pedophilia, when we talk about slavery in this country, we don't cover all of the pedophilia. You think they were waiting until those slaves turned to be 18? I mean, you know, anytime, I'm going to say this ain't got nothing to do with white, black, this could be any man of any color from any culture. Anytime you let men have the ability to sexually assault women with no accountability, you can be damn sure it's happening a lot. Anybody, I don't care if it's a bunch of black men, I don't care if it's a bunch of white men, I don't care if it's a bunch of Asian men. And throughout history that has happened. Generally it happens after war, where the victor gets to go in and abuse all the women. But anytime you allow men free reign over women with no accountability, rapes are incredibly common. And you can assume during 400 years of slavery, people were getting raped like crazy. Kids, babies, you name it. Zero accountability. That is not discussed. So when Trump says our country is focused on how bad slavery was, I bet you the Smithsonian ain't talking that much about that. And you can only assume tens of 400 years worth of it, tens of thousands of women were doing, that was happening too. And by the way, when you force breed slaves, where you bring in a big ass black man and you make him breed, he's getting raped too, because none of them have the ability to say no to that. None of them do. They got to keep doing that over and over again until they produce for you. We don't discuss that at all. So when he says we're discussing how bad slavery is, my response, we ain't discussing it all in detail. There's a whole lot of details that are being left out. So I don't know how nice he wants it to sound, but we already are discussing slavery in a manner that's probably significantly nicer than it actually was. We're already doing that. The food they ate, all of that shit was trash. People who, I mean, just like a horse, if the horse breaks his leg, you put down the fucking horse. What do you think they did with slaves that got sick? They didn't keep feeding it. Feeding was an expense. What do you think happened when that slave could not do anything of physical value? They just put it down. None of that's in there. So there is a significant amount of slavery that is still not discussed. And I see Twisted says, I think you need to go back to school. With all due respect, Twisted, going to school is the whole fucking problem. They're not teaching you accurately. Going to school is why you don't know this shit. Because the schools are being controlled. What do you think is happening right now when people are going to schools and banning books and shit like that? They don't want you to know stuff. They don't want, I mean, there's a reason why you hear folks talking about the Irish slaves all the time. And yet nobody who went to school know a damn thing about the Irish slaves. Going to school is not where you're learning shit. The schools have been controlled from day one. They're still telling people that somebody like Christopher Columbus discovered the damn country. You're not getting what you need to get in school. The schools have been teaching history, not from a standpoint of accuracy, but from a standpoint of American exceptionalism. And by the way, Trump used that word the other day. That's something I've been saying on this show for a few years, is that America never taught history accurately. They taught it from a standpoint of American exceptionalism. And I swear to God, Trump just said that the other day, that we need to get back to promoting American exceptionalism. He actually said that. I'm like, damn. But teaching American exceptionalism just teaches based on America's the best country on earth, which means that any atrocities and people we do bad, you don't need to tell people about that because it goes against exceptionalism. That's not teaching history accurately. You don't want to be taught based on American exceptionalism. You want to be taught based on fact. And we have never been taught that way. Anyway, looking in the comments, Twisted at this point with statements like you can't comprehend English, you're just throwing out, you just reaching. I don't even know where to go with it. But I did give you the privilege of reading your comments. But at that point, you kind of lost me. Looking in the comments real quick, I'll go back to the box and bring up Arsha Fine. Good evening, Arsha. Welcome to the program. This dude has the power of 3 Uncle Toms. Damn. 3? Jesus. Arsha, what does that mean? I got the power of 3 Uncle Toms. What is he trying to say?
Wait, hold on. I want to read something that happened in Donald Trump. It's a quote from him. I heard it today live, and I just have researched it. It was about him speaking about the African American Museum of History at the Smithsonian. I quote, this is him. This is in 2017. It's a new, beautiful Smithsonian museum that serves as a shining example of African Americans' incredible contributions to our culture, our society, and our history. Trump said months into his first term. Okay, next, I quote, he quotes, it also tells of the great struggle for freedom and equality that prevailed against the sins of slavery and the injustice of discrimination. The work and love of the people who helped create such a masterpiece is a testament to the legacy of so many leaders, he added. The president added in the February 2017 remarks that nothing was more important than his promise to continue, they quote, freedom for African Americans and for every American. So what changed?
I mentioned that before earlier.
No, but that's a quote.
Yeah, it is a quote. I was looking for. I've heard the quote. I know what you're talking about, and I mentioned this early on the program. One of the things we like about Trump is he's transparent, but one of the negative things is that he is not consistent. Too many things he says today contradicts what he said yesterday. Just like you're pointing to, just like you're pointing to how great he pointed out how he liked the Smithsonian. Now he's saying it's focusing on bad shit. That's the same thing you said about crime in D.C. was down, and now you said, I mean, he has a lot of contradictory stuff out there like that.
But I will say, who's in his corner? Look at who he has around him right now. He's got Steve Miller. He has Pete Hegseth. He has these, I'm just going to say it, white supremacists that are in his cabinet, anti-Semitics that are in his cabinet, the man let Afrikaners in, but he won't let Afghanistan or people from Afghanistan that help fight for freedom. And that is, what more do we need to say?
So you see Trump as a racist?
No, I don't see him as one. He has shown himself as one.
And for people that say they have not seen him do or say anything that's racist, how do you respond to that?
You don't have somebody that's been affected by racism. You're living in a white tea bubble, and you are going to church with a bunch of Christians. You've never seen a Muslim. You've never seen a Buddhist. You've never seen a Hindu. You've never, you are, I would say, unworldly and lacking knowledge of people other than what you see in your cul-de-sac.
Real quick before we continue, I just wanted to point out a comment somebody said, Argyle or something. He says Trump 2028, 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044, and also 2048. You do realize this man is going to die sometime, don't you?
Well, what I'm saying is, okay, you want another Putin.
Go ahead.
You want another Putin. Because Putin made it law that nobody could vote against him.
Yeah, but Putin is significantly younger, though.
People, what I want to say to the people that honestly think this way, think about take a minute, turn off your phone, listen to some classical music. I don't know what the fuck you need to do. And just think about what you're actually wishing for. Because we see what those things are around the world. We see what Putin is like. We see what the Kim Jong-uns and the all of that, we see it. Is that really what you're gambling for? And if so, why don't you go there?
I think they think Trump is doing a really good job, and they don't need to go there. They think that they need the liberals to get the hell out of the country. They think Trump is doing a good job already.
Tim, have you heard about the people that have defected and gone, expatriates that have gone to Russia because they wanted to live the dream? And have you read about any of this stuff? That there's this visa. It's called the it's like an anti-Western, it's the anti-woke visa. That's exactly what it's called in Russia, for the people that believe in, anti-LGBTQ, the woman belongs in a certain place, a lot of anyway, this one man, I want to feel bad for him, but he signed up, he moved his entire family there, and the Russian military put him on the front lines.
That sucks.
Right?
Did he survive?
I don't know. That would
suck to go to another country and get put in a war.
What are you? And is that what we want?
Why would you migrate to a country that's in the middle of a war?
Because they believe it's better. We're being flooded by migrants and brown people. They're losing their privilege, which is actually what the wife had said, because she was speaking on behalf of her husband in this article. I can't remember. It was either the Wall Street Journal, or it was a fairly conservative news outlet, but you can look it up.
I actually heard the story, and that is insane, because only way I would want to migrate to Russia right now is because I know there's a whole lot of single women, and a lot of husbands are gone for some reason, and they ain't coming back. So there's a lot of y'all that might need a little loving, maybe for that reason. But other than that,
Tim, people that look like you and I, we don't want to go to Russia.
I mean, there are Africans that live in Russia, and I mean, there's a few not as many as here. There's not as many. There's not as much diversity as it is in America. But the women have no choice. They ain't got nothing. Hubby's gone and gotten blown up by a drone. You can either get with my ass or you can hang out with that toy.
Come on, man. You and I, we grew up in the same time. We were born in the early 70s. Bro, we're not going to Russia. Be quiet.
I'm just joking. I'm not trying to get to Russia. I get it. I'm not trying to go to any country that's at.
Okay, so can I at least comment on the subject of the day?
Sure.
What is it?
The man is untouchable. He just had Letitia James' $500 million judgment thrown out. And by the way, before you speak on it, because I got folks that are just tuning in, I'll let you hear a few seconds of it just so you can get clarity of what we're talking about.
We're following some breaking. The New York appeals court has overturned a more than $500 million penalty that had been levied against President Trump and the Trump Organization. It comes after a judge had found Trump fraudulently filed financial statements to lenders and insurers. The penalty with interest came to more than $515 million before being tossed out by an appeals court this morning. News Nation's Rich McHugh was live in New York with the very latest.
Now, just to clear it up, the courts didn't say he's innocent. Trump is calling it a witch hunt and all that. They didn't say he's innocent. They said he actually did, use the system. They used the Eighth Amendment, suggesting that the punishment didn't fit the crime, and they viewed the $500 million or whatever it was as excessive. So they threw it out based on it being excessive, not based on Trump being innocent. But Trump is telling people he's innocent.
Well, that's Trump's playbook.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, that's the only thing I can say. That's Trump's playbook.
But what about the whole notion that this man is indeed untouchable? Because the E. Jean Carroll case, the defamation case, where he owes her like $80-some million. Do you think that's going to go through either?
Listen, this man has gotten away with looking at girls at teen whatever, and he's gotten away with everything.
So is he untouchable? You can say it. He is untouchable, right?
I don't want him to be.
It ain't got nothing to do with what you want. It's about what he is. He is untouchable.
I mean, if I'm talking about today, like right now and this hour and this minute, yes, he's untouchable. I can't speak for tomorrow.
No. I think he'll be. Untouchable tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
But Tim, this is sad.
This is our president.
And it's sad. The fact that I had to. It's sad.
I see in the comments, Randy says this lady has got to be from California. No, she's left of California. Literally. You to the left of California. But
I am not from California. I am not a Californian. I am a human being from America. I've traveled a lot of the world. I happen to live in Hawaii. I'm not Hawaiian, but I know better and I read.
Yeah, Hawaii is to the left of California, so she's further left than California. So
no, but we're not. I wouldn't say that the state is heavily.
I'm not talking to politics. I'm just saying if you look at a map, Hawaii is further. Hawaii is to the left of California, but it does.
I am a rat. I am the size of a rat turd in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
What time is it there right now? What, about 6 hours?
Right now it's 6:17 p.m.
I wouldn't mind seeing what. I've never been to Hawaii. I would love to see what it looks like out there.
Oh, Tim, if you ever come to the Big Island, we'll hang out. We could do a live. But no, I would love to show you some good spots.
Damn. All right now. Watch out now. Okay, fair enough. All right, well, we'll move it on. Somebody says, Tim, not if you look at the map upside down. We need to say west of Cali. Okay. Trump gets things done. That's it. What about that whole claim that regardless of how the Democrats feel about Trump, he is doing right by this country?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, I listened to a bunch of farmers today saying how it costs $1 million now to buy a combine, which they've never paid that much. I've listened to how they're struggling because of the tariffs and other countries are not wanting to pay it. And because we don't really know, because he keeps flip-flopping, that they're going to other countries eventually for their products, because we, especially the West Coast,
the Trump administration is making it sound like the economy is doing good. I'm going to be honest with you, where I'm at, I don't see it, but there are folks in it, because I asked that yesterday, and people were saying groceries are coming down in their area and everything. I'm not seeing it.
I would agree.
And he's not bragging off the economy of any significant nature. Trump, I mean, he did get up there and say gas is like $1.90 a gallon in a few places, which I don't know where that's happening either. But I mean,
not in this country, maybe somewhere else. No, I mean, it's it's his playbook. That's the only thing I can say. Don't look at this hand. Look at this hand. It's and it's gotten to the point, I think, with his directive and his playbook and the way that he is, you're going to believe him, or the people that choose to believe him, or the people that, have faith because they've raised him to a level of freaking godlike, they're going to have to actually feel it.
That may be a while. That could actually be after his term is over. Arsha, I do got to move it on, but right now, the love for Trump from MAGA is probably stronger than ever. Certainly with his performance in D.C. Certainly with his performance of the Texas redistricting. They're really, really happy right now.
I disagree, because 80% of Washington, D.C. is not in favor of what's
but that's
happening.
Not MAGA. I'm saying MAGA. D.C. is not a MAGA area. They're happy to see what he's doing to D.C. MAGA's very happy
you know
with Trump.
You know what I want? You know what I want? Bring the National Guards into St. Louis. Bring the National Guards into Memphis. Bring the National Guards into New Orleans. Bring the National Guard into a red state. And let's see if MAGA is still cool.
I don't think that'll ever happen, but Ursha, appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate it. And by the way, I don't think it'll ever happen. I think that in Trump's case, he's saying he's lowering crime, and that might happen. But I think it has a lot less to do with lowering crime and more to do with sticking it to the liberals. As long as you got a Republican governor, it don't matter how fucked up your city is. He's not going to send in the National Guard. That's your biggest defense against having the National Guard come in your state. If you got a Republican governor, it's not going to happen. Doesn't matter what the crime is like. So, I mean, because he's talking about going into New York and Los Angeles. Los Angeles is definitely not among the top 10 most dangerous cities. And he's already talking about doing Los Angeles. I mean, like what my last guest pointed out, Memphis, Baton Rouge, Little Rock, St. Louis, New Orleans, all them cities are worse crime-wise than Los Angeles. And he's already talking about Los Angeles. So he's skipping over. In fact, you don't really hear the right. The right talks about crime in liberal cities all the time. You notice when they're talking about crime in liberal cities, it's always only in liberal states. Houston has a lot of crime. Jacksonville, Florida has a lot of crime. Jackson, Mississippi has a lot of crime. They don't mention any of the violent cities that happen to be in Republican area. Now, those cities are liberal too, by the way. Those are liberal controlled cities. Memphis and St. Louis, most of those cities still have a liberal governor, but the state is red. And as long as the state is red, they don't care, apparently, how much crime it is in those cities. They do not cover it. Because fact is, if you're talking about the crime in St. Louis, the governor doesn't get to escape that conversation. I mean, yeah, St. Louis is a liberal city. No, but the governor is responsible for what's happening in the cities of his state. In fact, if you commit a violent felony, that is a state crime. That's not a city crime. So the governor is responsible for because when the governors run for office, they're running for lowering crime in their states. So you would have to hold the Republican governors accountable. So to avoid having to do that, he only talks about cities that are in Democratic states. Atlanta has a lot of crime as well. You never hear him talking about that. So I think that's why you have a lot of people pushing back, because the right is always saying, well, Democrats are apparently for crime because they're against what he's doing in D.C. No, you're not doing it from an unbiased standpoint. You're doing this as a stick it to the liberals. Solving crime or reducing crime may be a side effect of it, but you're not doing it solely based on solving crime. You're doing it based on politics first, and then if crime comes down, that's great too. So I think that's what the problem is. Yes, Atlanta is really crime-ridden. Says, yeah, there's a whole lot of bad cities in Republican states. Plenty of them. Nashville has a lot of crime. Another city that's in a Republican state. Both Nashville and Memphis. Ohio's a Republican state. You telling me Cleveland don't get mentioned? No mention of Cleveland at all, huh? There's tons of crime in Cleveland. You're just skipping over Republican states. Just skipping completely over them. And this is not something to just bash Trump with. The whole Republican Party is doing it. Even before Trump came along, they were already bashing Chicago and skipping over liberals, skipping over Republican states. Just been doing it from day one. You ask any Republican to name a bad city in Chicago, or name a bad city in America, Chicago's going to be the number one answer they give. Because it's all over their media, but Chicago's not even in the top 10 for murder rates. It's just, you want to talk about fake news and how the liberal media, Chicago being given as an answer for violent cities is a way the right-wing media has strung things up. Because that is not even in the top 10. Chicago should not be getting that much attention when all of these other cities are worse and they're not getting mentioned at all. But the answer is simple. Chicago is like a bastion of liberalism. It is a perfect target. There is nothing conservative about it, so you're not injuring any enemies by attacking Chicago. Liberal governor, liberal mayor, ties to Obama, a history of tough gun laws. It is all a sea of liberalism. Now, there's no tough gun laws in St. Louis or Memphis, but the cities are bad as hell. But because they do a lot of people that have Second Amendment rights without infringement, we can't really attack them. So you're playing politics. You're not actually interested in actually getting to the root of the problem. You're doing it from a standpoint of bashing the liberals. And that is why, even though what he's doing in D.C. might bring down crime, there's so many people against it because it's not being done from an objective standpoint. Looking in the comments, though, inner cities, black mayor, black DA, black cops, but want to blame the small white town 40 miles away. I don't know where that's happening at. I don't know where people in Chicago are blaming a small white town 40 miles away. Where are you getting that from? And what are they blaming a small white town 40 miles away for? That doesn't make a lot of sense there. Weird Texas, whatever your name is. That doesn't make any sense. He says inner cities have black mayor, black DA, black cops, but first of all, there is no inner city that doesn't have white cops in it as well. So the cops are not all black. But you said, but blame a small white town 40 miles away. Where is that happening at? I don't know where LA, Chicago, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, or any of these towns are blaming some small white town 40 miles away. What are you talking about? Elaborate on it. Let me know what you're talking about. Clear it up for me. Actually, I'm creating okay, that's something. No problems here in Vermont. We are all curiously wealthy, even black Americans like me. You don't have enough people in Vermont. So Section 8 brings ghetto. Ooh. You have to include surrounding suburbs of Chicago for accuracy. Well, he's saying they're blaming some small white town 40 miles away. I'm blaming them for what? I don't know what he's even trying to get at. St. Louis barely have 300,000 citizens. And if it's the murder capital, it's the murder capital, period. What do you mean? Because it only has 300,000 citizens, we just let the murders happen without mentioning it? It has to be a big city like Chicago for you to even mention it? I don't buy into that. I mean, I don't buy. Look, if St. Louis is a well-known city in this country, everybody knows St. Louis is a well-known city. If there's a ton of murders happening, those are American citizens. If you're really about getting to the bottom of crime and solving crime, St. Louis should be mentioned. That's all I'm saying. Well, look at 300,000 people, so just let them all fucking die, huh? Y'all say shit, but don't do research. Don't know what you mean by that. What's not being researched? Ask them about white flight to the burbs and how racism gutted cities. That's going to happen in D.C. That's going to happen in D.C. I strongly feel that way. Just like when Trump talked about making Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. Yeah, you'll make it nice. You'll make people want to come there. But the people who currently live there, they're gone. They're going to lose their homes. That's what's going to happen if he succeeds in D.C. If he goes into D.C. and reduces crime and all of that type of stuff, and people want to suddenly go to D.C. as the way he's painted it, D.C. is going to be crime-free and all this shit, well, the cost of property and apartments and shit is going to skyrocket. So all of the people that are there giving him credit for reducing crime, you're going to be giving him credit for reducing crime in the city you used to live in. Because he ain't increasing income. He's not increasing income. So when the prices of shit starts going up, the prices of housing and the prices of apartments start going up, you're going to move to a neighborhood that you can afford to live in. And the National Guard and the police are not going to be there. You're going to be right back in crime again. Bragging about how D.C. is so nice since they got my ass out of here. And that is legitimate working class Americans. I'm not talking about criminals. I'm talking about the guy or the woman or the family that goes to work every day and earns a modest income. You're not going to be able to afford to live here if he does what he's talking about doing. You're going to be on the outside looking in while he brags about how nice that town is. And you're not there anymore because you can't afford to live there. If that's something you see as an accomplishment, then so be it. But that is what's going to happen is when the town becomes safer, the rents are going to go up. And he is not doing anything to increase the salaries of the people that live there. In fact, he went through D.C. with a firing spree. Lots of people have been fired. So good luck with that. Michigan City with the water issue. Okay. No murders, no homelessness 5 miles from my Canadian border. Bernie, not me. Well, no people either. 5 miles from the Canadian border. You got to have people to kill them, right? No murders in the town with no people. Look at Detroit and Mayor Coleman, Young or Kwame Kilpatrick ruined Detroit. Damn, how far you got? You got Kwame Kilpatrick, what, that's the 90s? You're going way back for that one. I'll tell you one thing in regards to Detroit, moving auto manufacturers and jobs out of Detroit did 100% more damage than anything that Kwame Kilpatrick would have done. That is a product of losing jobs. I mean, there's plenty of cities like that. Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Gary, Indiana. You take all the industry out of a city and you're going to fuck the city up. And somebody says Coleman Young is the 70s. Wow, you're going that far back, huh? No, them people are not what fucked Detroit up. Because Chicago's had a whole host of corrupt politicians going all the way back to Al Capone. And yet it's been a functioning city the whole time. The one mayor is not what's doing it. What's doing it is taking industry out of a city. When you got a city that makes all their income from steel, coal, car manufacturing, you take that out of the town, all of the jobs are gone. Like Trump targeted the federal government. A lot of jobs in DC are around the federal government. He's created a lot of unemployment in DC. He's not taking credit for any of that for some reason, but he's created a lot of unemployment in DC. And you got to assume all of those federal workers were patronizing businesses all over that town. You go to Starbucks to have coffee on the way to work. You stop off at a gas station, maybe to get a newspaper or whatever they do nowadays. Nobody reads the paper, but you know what I mean. You stop off at the gas station in the morning or on the way home from work. You get fired, you're not patronizing those places anymore. They're going to notice the lost business too. So you lost your job and now they're losing a ton of businesses, so everybody's hurting. The McDonald's, the fast food restaurants, the food trucks that parked in front of your business, all of them are hurting. I mean, he caused damage in DC. There's no denying firing a bunch of people has caused a lot of damage in DC. That ain't going to do shit for crime. If you take a city that's high crime and then you go into the town and fire a bunch of people, that ain't going to make things get better. Putting the police out there when you're not fixing the problem, which is unemployment, that's where the problem is. Anyway, I'll go back to the box and continue on. I don't know what I'm hitting here. Okay.